Pull my mask over my nose.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, February 18, 2021. This is your award-winning Gibbo Nation Media Assassination episode 1322.
This is No Agenda.
Live in the dark winter and broadcasting live from Opportunity Zone 33 here in the frontier of Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where some people are finally admitting it's global cooling going on. I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Yes, thank you for pointing that out. This is the somehow overlooked detail of what's going on here. I mean, we are in Texas, people.
Polar vortex.
Yeah.
Oh. Well, it's been very interesting the past couple of days.
Well, everyone is listening to this show right now.
Yeah.
To hear the poop.
The poop, yeah. The hands-on story. Well, first of all, I'm very happy with our personal preparedness during this crisis, and I'm super happy with the performance of our house. These are things that matter, especially the house, which turns out to be so well insulated that we really were able to maintain above 50 degrees at all times. And we have a gas stove and a gas fireplace. So that was super good. Having the keeper with me was it's like, whoa, you okay?
No.
What
I
happened?
mean, yeah, I'm fine, but the glass almost broke.
Oh, okay. Whew, scared me. You know, the keeper grew up in Indiana and lived in Chicago, and she's used to being without power for days on end from her time in Florida. So she's totally ready. She categorizes everything. She's got, okay, here's our inventory. She's got labels on them, and, she's making sure all the faucets are dripping, which, thank you, was the smartest thing we could have done.
Oh, yeah, people should know that.
I had never heard of it, and they weren't mentioning that on the news.
I thought you would know it because you lived in Jersey.
Never did that in Jersey. Also never had the pipes freeze because the house was kind of, built for it. But yeah, I never didn't think about it. And man, our neighbors got screwed. And the worst part, we all have, or most of us here have tankless water heaters, which, work on electricity. And then when this happened, either the first night or the second night, a lot of people's tankless water heaters, the pipes cracked and blew at the exchange. So, it's like, you're not going to get a plumber. There's no spare parts to be had.
Oh, there's also the plumbers are stuck in the snow, and there's millions of jobs out there for them.
Yeah. This is the problem we have, is we have not been able to leave the house because it's all ice. We're on this cul-de-sac.
In Washington State, usually when you have a freeze like this, which doesn't happen a lot, it does happen once in a while. And in fact, even in the Bay Area, I might be wrong about this, but the news reports tell you about keeping the water running. Dripping.
Yeah. So also the local news is very, very poor. When your power's out, the thing that you're not going to be able to do is get to television. Most of the streaming was down. Of course, people's.
You have one of those radios with a hand crank?
I do actually, but I didn't use that. I used my my Kenwood, the ham radio, which has a great AM and FM. And so I went looking around for some information. Local NPR, those people, that should be shut down, that station. We're in the middle of this, the first morning, everyone's waking up, cold house, there's confusion. And NPR is just doing, I'm Terry Gross. It's like, where's the local news? No one had anything except for one, KLBJ. They're the only guys. And I was getting better information from Todd and Don in the morning than from anything else. The mayor was MIA. The governor was MIA. It was a total clusterfuck.
We saw the mayor a lot here.
Our mayor?
Yeah.
What was he saying? Because we didn't see much of it.
Whatever it was, he was wrong.
Well, so here's the problem. Go ahead.
I do have some clips, but the way they played your mayor, not your, I'm sorry, it was your governor. They had the governor on all the time.
Governor, yeah. Okay.
And whatever the governor said was wrong. He was wrong. He's a liar.
Well, here's the cool thing. Because of this and because of our producers, and, I'm always amazed by the types of people who produce this show. We have multiple people, but one dude named Ben, he's actually I think he's the protector of the megawatts. He works on a trading desk for Texas Energy. And,
nice.
And from him and from other producers, even Dogpatch was even said he has some knowledge of how these things work. And Atomic Rod Adams, there's not a lot of report, but we have 2 nuclear reactors and one went down as well. Which added to all the problems, and that's about 3 gigawatts. Yeah, well, they got a false signal. And Atomic Rod wrote a pretty good blog post about how that shouldn't have happened. They should not have shut it down. But I'd love to explain to you what I think is going on, because everyone's wrong. Our governor's full of crap. AOC is also full of crap. Everyone's full of crap. Very few people who...
Does AOC live down there?
And she was saying, she was out there tweeting, because you don't embrace the Green New Deal is why this is happening in Texas. You say. And immediately we started seeing the pictures of the giant windmill with a helicopter trying to de-ice the blades. Yeah. Okay. But let me just talk a little bit about the experience, and then we can get into how it happened, because I have documented this, and it's pretty interesting. And I would say it's on the level of the pipelines episode we once did. It's that level of chicanery that's going on. So anyway, everyone's stuck here. We can't get out because everything's ice. There's no snow plows. There's no one can do any of that. We had icing rain, just the worst possible conditions. And what really happened with our grid is that they just totally ran out because of a lack of responsibility for any of this on any party. So it really came down to neighbors helping each other. Big props to Baron Scott, who, he organizes the meetups, and this is a good lesson for everybody. And he's just an organizer, what kind of guy he is. And he had everybody from the No Agenda Texas meetup on a Telegram group, and he was calling out to people. They were organizing pickups and food drop-offs, and one of our producers was stuck in a hotel. He's from San Antonio, and he had no power and no food, no anything. So, these meetup groups can be more important than you think. They are kind of your friends in the crisis. So, here's the things I learned. Most people are so technologically spoiled that they do not know you can actually light a gas stove without electricity. I had to demonstrate this. I had to talk to several people about this. Because when you turn on the gas, you turn the knob and it goes click, 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 and it lights.
Most modern stoves have a piezoelectric element, which is powered by electricity, and it click, click, clicks, and the next thing you know, it lights it.
Right. And this is what people...
But the majority of stoves still have pilot lights.
No, but you're missing the entire point. People were not making the connection between turning on the gas with the knob and holding a match to it that they would be able to light their stove. My neighbor went for 15 hours outside on his barbecue grill because he didn't put 2 and 2 together, because people are so so pampered with technology.
Well, that's pathetic.
I'm just identifying it as rampant. It was very interesting. I myself learned about thermopile. This was news to me, because when I woke up in the morning and everything was out, I'm like, okay, let me see if I can get the gas on. And our gas is a switch on the wall. Our fireplace is a switch on the wall. I'm like, well, that's going to suck. How can I? Because there's a pilot light there, but the gas flow control is done electrically.
Interesting.
And I'm like, holy shit, how am I going to do this? Is there a way to do it manually? And so just on a lark, I flip the switch and it goes on. I'm like, how does this work? This is sorcery. What's going on in this house? So the way it works is you have these thermopoles, which are little, copper windings on a circuit board, and it generates it can generate a small current from heat. It's usually used for temperature sensors, and they're routing that through that switch, and it's just enough to open the gas flow.
It sounds dangerous.
It was wizardry to me, man. I loved it. Anyway, so the ham bands, complete disappointment. They're not going to save anyone when the apocalypse comes.
What?
The ham bands. The hams.
What's a hand band?
Ham radio operators. The ham bands.
Ham.
The hams.
Yeah, the hams are supposed to have taken care of this problem.
I tuned into all the repeaters. John, I'm not kidding. The first repeater I get into is like,
yeah, just a little mic check. See, my mic's working.
Yeah,
you sound good over here. So far.
there was nothing. There was no coordination. Like, oh, yeah, you got power? No, I don't have any power. Okay, how about you? I got some power. How's my mic sound? Sounds good. All right. Completely worthless. I almost want to send my license back. It was horrible. Horrible. Now, we also couldn't use the, and here is a fatal flaw, of course, we couldn't use the No Agenda ham network because that runs on the internet through the backbone. I probably could have gotten something up on a dongle, but I was just not worried about that. So we learned how to charge everything in the car, sit in the car, and while we're charging, and do a lot of stuff in the car, which is also a lot warmer with the seat warmers. And I would say that for us, it's been pretty good neighborhood, but the horror stories are everywhere. And, we got power last night. It's been on all the time so far, which is because we are in the opportunity zone where Section 8 housing is.
Oh, so in other words, you're in. That's interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what to say to that, except. So you had it. So there's still people that's never gotten their power back because they're in a ritzier area.
Well, let me tell you the sequence because there was a lot of consternation about it. So when they decided they had to start to go to rolling blackouts, where have we heard that before? Rolling blackouts. They attempted to do it, but they attempted it with the poor neighborhoods first. So our friends in Terrytown, Joe Rogan, they never lost power. But they wanted to rotate it. There's also smaller sections probably. And I'm just saying this is what it looked like. And they couldn't roll it over because once they did it, they tried to get our power on briefly 2 hours after it went out Sunday night. And that failed. And then it was just out for 48 hours. And that made all of the east side. So I think they decided, hey, why don't we do the poor fuckers first? Because, they don't, who cares if they complain? And what you don't want Joe Rogan complaining. That would be no good. So they turned us off first. And then just, now, Sir Gene doesn't live too far from here. And he lives in like in a kind of a compound with single family homes. No. Now we're in the midst of all of these apartments, many of them Section 8, and we're just kind of in this little sliver that just got turned on again. But it was turned off for 48 hours. I mean, there were people from the apartments coming up to our place, looking for wood to burn because there's no gas in those apartments. It was pretty messed up. And, then you get all the reports of people, doing stupid stuff that they just don't know. I mean, there was so little as typical. It would be smart to say, hey, please don't burn charcoal in your home. You could die. There's a lot of that. A lot of people taking stupid chances. And, there's people who froze to death in their cars. And then by now, I'm looking for different kinds of information because the news is just all the same crap. And it always ends with the guy out. Instead of stay safe, now it's stay warm. Thanks for the report, Adam. Stay warm.
Stay warm.
Yeah. It's like
layers.
John, I'm out here in downtown Austin, and you can see over on the east side, is completely dark, but over here on the west side here downtown, we got plenty of light. People seem to be doing okay in a good mood, John.
Hey, well, very good, Adam. Thanks for your report. Stay warm.
Everywhere, stay warm. People on Twitter.
Well, let's listen. Let's listen to the ABC rundown of this. I have 3 clips, and it's got some stupid crap in there that I just couldn't take. I couldn't take it.
Okay.
This is Storm, Texas, ABC.
Major storm now bearing down from the south right up into the northeast tomorrow. Snow, ice, freezing rain, dangerous conditions, and this storm has already slammed Texas yet again. Another night there with millions without power, without heat, without water, and authorities acknowledging they do not know when the power will be back on. Grocery stores with empty shelves today, bottled water sold out. At least 30 people have now died in this week's storms alone, and this new one now hitting tonight. The images again this evening, this 15-mile traffic jam near Hazen, Arkansas. Multiple accidents in the snow on an icy Interstate 40. Freezing rain in Austin, Texas, adding a coat of ice to the snow. A car out of control sliding down an icy hill. Millions without power. Families left to wear multiple layers and huddle with one another just to get through these nights.
Layers.
This neighborhood in the dark in Houston. Frozen pipes bursting inside homes. And one image seen in so many places today. This one right here, icicles hanging from a fan in a Dallas apartment building. A long line for propane tanks in Houston today. People waiting in freezing rain. Also waiting in line for hours for groceries. These images from Austin, Texas tonight. Some families showing up at what they're calling warming centers. This one open 24 hours a day in Richardson, Texas. That's outside Dallas. And of course, the impact on vaccinations across this country. At least 34 states canceling or delaying vaccinations.
There it is.
And in Texas tonight, authorities are now facing tough questions about the power grid there and the Texas governor and what he's now blaming for the outages. Critics say that's just not true. We have it all covered, beginning with ABC's Marcus Moore, leading us off from Dallas tonight.
Yeah, this is fantastic. This is the best political football, and everybody's full of crap. And I don't think they even know what's going on. And the governor, he should go for this. It's complete stupidity. But
so
then
let's put on clip 2.
All right, clip 2. This kept going. Oh, goodness.
Tonight, with the nation focused on the next winter storm, the humanitarian crisis in Texas is only worsening. Pipes bursting in Austin, water cascading out of buildings, and icy roads sending vehicles sliding down the street. In Houston, authorities responding to more calls for possible carbon monoxide poisoning. Freezing rain and no power making travel dangerous in darkened neighborhoods. Some people are even sleeping in their cars. Broken pipes causing ceilings to cave in.
This is a very bad situation, a 1-2 punch here with this second ice storm.
By midday, significantly more customers in Texas without power as there were during Hurricane Harvey. Houston, America's 4th largest city, is telling residents to boil water if they even have any.
How can we boil water? We don't even have power.
Our team met Alexandra Quinones in line to buy firewood.
We got 3 kids at home, 4, 6, and 9. We trying to keep the babies warm.
And in Galveston,
the sprouted oil is the water oil, but there's not anymore.
Many without power and water.
Everything in the refrigerator now has gone bad.
It's true, John. Every single thing you hear, and the pipes breaking.
Yeah.
I mean, we have to boil water too now.
Yeah. So here's the thing that bugs me.
Yeah, please.
Was the last little thing this woman said, because this, you see, we've had situations in Washington where you have a lot of snow. And
sure.
How is everything in the refrigerator ruined? Why don't you take it outside and put it in the snow?
It's the same technical misunderstanding, and I would say we have an education problem as the gas stove. It's the same problem. And also,
in your area, it was 18. If you took stuff out of the refrigerator and put it outside, it would freeze it.
Well, everyone had their stuff outside except this lady, which I guess they did to embarrass Texas. But again, there's a lot of the technology.
Well, one more thing I'll mention in that same regard. You can eat. You can take like a glass of fresh snow and let it melt, and that's water.
Yeah, water. People are doing that.
Yeah, okay, well, that's good. But they're not reporting it. Let's go to the last of this.
Hello, why? Then they.
Everything in the refrigerator now has gone bad, and supplies are dwindling. And most people out here, the biggest deal is water.
People have made some life and death choices.
Back in Houston, the lights going dark during an interview with Mayor Sylvester Turner.
We've been talking about power being restored. Now in real time, you have seen power being turned off.
The state's energy production and independence has always been a point of pride. And as the crisis persists, the governor placing blame squarely on officials at ERCOT, the private company that runs about 90% of the state's grid.
ERCOT stands for Electric Reliability Council of Texas. And they showed that they were not reliable.
Do you think ERCOT leadership needs to resign?
Yes.
Governor Abbott facing criticism for appearing to place some of the blame for the outages on frozen wind turbines.
Our wind and our solar got shut down, and they were collectively more than 10% of our power grid. And that thrust Texas into a situation where it was lacking power in a statewide basis.
But Abbott's own energy department reports most of the state's energy losses come from failures to winterize systems, including oil and natural gas pipelines. And now at least 2 federal agencies are investigating why the system failed so badly.
Oh, cool. Because we're going to tell them. I'd heard of ERCOT. Do you remember I went to see those Bitcoin guys up a little bit north of here in Texas who were on the exchange point? In fact, near where ERCOT operates, only ERCOT's office is somewhere else. And I didn't know really what the hell was going on, but I remember the guy saying, I said, how are you getting all this power here? And, how can you sit right at this grid where, it's a perfect place to be for Bitcoin mining? He said, we hired this guy who is an insider with ERCOT. And so that's the only way. And, the stories he told me is there's such a weird group that they at one point thought they were going to have to leave, and they were actually packing up machines, and then everything changed. And so I already knew something was fishy with this ERCOT, there's blame all over. I like the Green New Deal blame, which is very weak, I would say. It's especially coming from the governor. And then there's the ERCOT blame. I think this is from ABC from this morning.
But many are now pointing the finger at ERCOT, the nonprofit organization which has controlled most of the state's energy since 2002 when Texas privatized its electric grid. The governor now calling for an investigation and demanding ERCOT CEO step down.
This was a total failure by ERCOT. ERCOT stands for Electric Reliability Council of Texas. And they showed that they were not reliable.
Okay. Thank you, Governor. Of course, we had to bring Bill Gates out to discuss the windmills.
Look at Texas. That's my home state where I grew up. More than 4 million customers are without power after this Arctic blast froze wind turbines. The Wall Street Journal today argues that this is the risk of trying to banish fossil fuels. Is what's happening in Texas a sign of the limits of clean energy like wind?
Basically, no. That is, if you have enough transmission so that, across the country, the wind is blowing somewhere and the sun is shining somewhere. If you have some degree of storage and some sources like nuclear that are not weather dependent, we can grow the electricity and maintain reliability. Now, it's not going to be easy. This is one where just looking at the price of solar alone doesn't tell you the challenge that we face. But we can get rid of those hydrocarbons for all of our electricity generation and still not freeze to death.
Yeah, but in Texas, which gets a fair portion of their energy from wind turbines, those wind turbines are frozen. And you hear energy officials in the state saying that is part of the problem.
All right. So again, I got a lot of help from our producers. Also, Atomic Rod recommended a book which you can read in about 4 or 5 hours. It's written by Meredith Angwin, Angwin. She's in the show notes. It's called Shorting the Grid, The Hidden Fragility of Our Electric Grid. Was written several years ago, but incredibly timely. Because I've figured out what's going on, and I can at least give a general overview, because it could happen in California, it could happen in the East Coast, could happen in Europe, could happen anywhere. It happened to happen here due to the polar vortex, and John, this is Enron meets Wall Street bets. It's that disgusting when you really see what's happening. First thing, windmills, everyone's talking, you see the memes. Well, windmills work fine in Norway and over here and everything. It was a kind of specific case because of the humidity. It was icing, and the icing, that won't stop anywhere. So you don't have those particular conditions. Wind power, by the way, in Texas is completely valid in my book. Obviously not for these conditions, but man, how long have we used to praise T. Boone Pickens for what he did with the wind, he had his whole wind farms. He the biggest, I think, didn't he?
I don't know. T. Boone Pickens to me was always the natural gas guy.
Oh, no, he went into all the windmills. Anyway,
they're mostly.
They work.
He was in advertisements all over the West Coast, but he was always promoting natural gas.
So there was a chain reaction. Those went down. We already had the polar vortex coming. We knew days ahead of time it was going to go down to 7 degrees. And what you'll hear the news saying is natural gas-fired plants had supply problems. This is bullcrap. And this is something that I haven't seen discussed. The gas providers have their own rules and regulations. And their rule is it goes towards residential and heating above and beyond anything else, including gas-fired plants. So what has Austin done very successfully for their own carbon initiatives? They have shut down, decommissioned, and in some cases outright forbidden, dual plants that can do oil and natural gas, where they could store some of the oil. The natural gas generators don't store that much natural gas on site. So that's why you hear, you have supply issues. No, it didn't freeze. It's all kinds of misinformation. They literally were not getting it because they were sending it to people to warm their homes. Coal plants, same thing. It's all kind of been shut down, and it's great. Virtue signal, we get green energy, blah, blah, blah. Then we had the nuclear plant that got the false signal. It shut down. But here's the biggest problem that happened, and this is where I'd like to introduce ERCOT. The price per megawatt hour of energy, which is typically $25 to maybe a peak sometime in the summer of $80 per megawatt hour. Do you know what the price is at this very moment still, John?
I don't know.
$9,000. $9,000. And that's the cap. There's a regulatory cap that the energy price cannot go above $9,000 per megawatt hour. And interestingly, ERCOT got permission to pass that on to the customers. So there's little incentive with these guys to do much about it. And let me introduce ERCOT, and then I'll tell you where the problem lies.
ERCOT provides a central place where generation is dispatched out onto the grid and where generation and load are balanced at all times. ERCOT is similar to an air traffic controller. It doesn't own the airplanes or the runways, but it steps back and makes sure everything is flowing properly and efficiently. ERCOT doesn't own the assets. It doesn't make electricity, but it monitors all the moving parts that keep electricity flowing and keeps the markets that provide electricity to Texans running. There are a number of participants in ERCOT's market that make electricity work in Texas, starting from your home. Your home receives electricity from a distribution company. The distribution company receives electricity from the transmission system, which is what ERCOT is managing in its control room. ERCOT has prepared for the future in two primary ways. One, to make sure its people, systems, and market participants have the right rules to manage a changing system. Two, from a technological perspective, the grid operator has to be very sophisticated in order to manage the future of the electric grid. The best thing about ERCOT is the people, committed to the mission of making sure electric power will always get to the people of Texas. ERCOT, your power, our promise.
Yeah, it's always nasty how those types of PR things don't age very well. So this is an RTO, a regional transmission organization, and you're probably going to have be able to help me with some of this, John. In 1996 is when energy deregulation came in. And that's when a number of regions were created, certainly not all states. I think really only maybe 18 states in total, but California has an RTO, Regional Transmission Organization. Texas has it, and we have it over our own grid. And then there's several in, I think, New England. There's a couple other ones. And the idea was that this deregulation would create a market that would drive prices down because there were all these different ways of creating energy. And the regional transmission organizations are there to really do one thing, and that is to accept or deny bids every 5 minutes with the cost of energy and then switch that. So you've got the power generators, you have people who are using natural gas, guys who are doing coal, what's left of them. There's actually quite a few, but you got the solar, you got the wind power. All of those offer up their megawatt per hour price into this system, and they're bidding. And the way the clearing price or whatever price is taken is a complete black box. These regional transmission organizations often have laws that specifically forbid the press from attending their meetings. There's all kinds of jerk-offs on the boards of these companies. It's really like, backroom, dark alley type stuff. And they have one cardinal rule, which is you are never allowed to name the fuel. And this is, as I discovered, what got Rick Perry fired. Remember, he was our energy secretary, and then he decided he needed to go and, hey, good buddy. He had to go and
Perry.
go spend time with his family. That's because in 2018, I think, when he was still energy secretary, he made a public statement and said, we need to make Texas winter resilient. That's the term, winter resilient, which is an energy term, meaning typically you have oil reserves 90 days or coal or something, because other stuff will stop and won't flow. And he said,
Rick Perry got pushed out because he was telling the truth.
Yes, but the problem was not that he was telling the truth. The problem was that he specifically mentioned coal and the N-word. So and that you can never mention that, because according to the regional transmission organizations, you can't have a bias, because everybody knows at the exchange itself, you can't have a bias over what kind of power that is. Everybody knows that the guys over at the solar farm and the windmill farm, that they get subsidies, so their actual cost is lower. Oil and gas has certain subsidies. Nuclear has, there's all kinds of things that go into this price. But what's amazing is this auction. And this is where the next ERCOT boasting video comes in.
ERCOT is always coordinating the flow of electricity, but it also has important roles in managing the financial side of the energy market, collecting money from companies that consume power and then paying the resources that produce it. So, in a lot of ways, ERCOT is like the stock exchange, making sure that transactions are handled accurately and efficiently, and that the right technology is available to keep those transactions flowing smoothly. ERCOT also provides financial and accounting services to the wholesale market under a set of market rules, so the grid can work effectively and efficiently. ERCOT, your power, our promise.
So, it is not like the stock market. It is exactly that, with all the same players. There's an entire secondary market, which no one talks about. Is if you go in and look at the auction bids, these every 5 minutes, there's not, 10 power generating companies. Yeah, they're in there, but there's maybe 200 parties in there bidding. And these are guys who are shorting, hedging, hedge funds. Actual hedge funds are in this game. They're, you could be getting energy that has been traded 5 times in 5 minutes to make more profit before it gets to you. So this is complete.
I'll bet you there's a lot of Enron people involved in this.
And to make it worse, I have in my possession documentation, which I can't give up because, of course, it was given to me confidentially, that they do the same trick. scheduling an outage can increase our profits when done properly. That's what Enron did. They were shutting down power generation to create a false scarcity. That's a part of their business model. A part of the business model. So it's exactly that. Enron, Wall Street bets, and what happened is no one has responsibility. You can't blame traders who are in there. They're just trading to make a buck. No. No, you can't blame them. You can't blame ERCOT. They're just doing what they do, just getting the best price. No one had an incentive because of the lack of financial rewards for having fuel on site. That's it. And these guys were loving the price because as the cold started to come in, they were like, oh, fuck, this is great. They got the price. What percentage increase is that from $25 to $9,000? They were crushing it. They were killing it until stuff started to trip offline. Now, what I didn't really realize about the energy grid is it has to be in total balance. The demand matches the supply at all times. Otherwise, you can fry the grid or do all kinds. I mean, it's probably quite simple in general, but if that's why they have to shut stuff down or bring stuff online. And, literally when I flip on a switch somewhere, that's getting generated and there's a little trickle of extra energy is coming out. But we got completely hosed by a clearinghouse, not dissimilar to Wall Street's DTCC, whatever it is, their central clearinghouse. People are trading futures. You're buying oil or gas-powered energy that someone bought 5 years ago. And so there's no way to have any oversight. This is literally like NASDAQ. No one gives a shit what happens downstream.
Well, why would they?
Well, because
no sweat off my balls is the old saying.
The way I see it, we need Enron-level hearings because it's the same thing. We need Enron-level hearings because it's sanctioned.
You have to assume this is the Enron models have permeated the entire country. Mm-hmm. Once Enron was broken up, all those guys scattered. I actually know one of them. In fact, I have some Enron golf balls.
You got to put those on Etsy.
I'm thinking about it. Mm-hmm. And they scattered around the country with these ideas. It's almost like a cancer.
Uh-huh.
And there, as you outlined, it's great. You implement these ideas all over the place. It's just fabulous. And a lot of it has to do with privatization, and the bogus little middlemen that are put into the system to make privatization work.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these, it's pretty obvious to people, or not to everybody, but to a lot of people, that privatization in public utilities is really not a great idea.
No, well, in reading this book, you really have the power grid and then the policy grid, and the idea you get about the deregulation, what happened in '96, is kind of Orwellian. So deregulation, in fact, meant tons of regulations, tons of all kinds of rules and advantages for this guy, that guy. That's all. The politicians are all a part of this. It's not just the governor. It's just not just the legislature. It's all the greedy fucks. It's the whole system. And they got caught with their pants down.
This is
because they believe global warming is happening and not global cooling. That's pretty much it. This is only because of this freeze that no one expected.
This is Bill Clinton.
Oh, he was president when it deregulated, right?
Yeah, he was the most Republican of all the Democrat presidents in history.
So I look at the current.
I mean, he could do things as a Democrat. He could do things. This is the old switcheroo.
Mm-hmm.
He could do. This is like how only Nixon could have opened China.
Right.
There are Democrats can do things that Republicans would love to do, but they can't. But the Democrats can, and the same vice versa. The Republicans can do things that the Democrats would love to do, but they can't.
Right.
Because people point the finger at him. And so you have this situation with Clinton, who was just used every Republican idea in the book, and they always accused him of being exploitative. Well, he's just doing it to exploit the voter. But no, he was doing it sincerely.
That's the problem. I'm looking at the current prices. It's split up between Northwest, South Texas, and Houston. And this is a fun game anyone can play at home. You can get the ERCOT app and you can download it and use it, or just go to their website. So right now, the South is at the current price. Now it'll settle for $9,000, but the bid price is $9,004.47, which is above the legal limit. So the South is nothing's happening. It's stuck. We got Houston now is $89.90. So I guarantee you that now some power is coming online, and the same for the North. The South is where we are. Nothing else is going to come online until that price goes down. You can follow it to the T. It's disgusting. They won't bring it online because they can't make money on it. And here's this ERCOT thing that came out that was approved by the state. As noted, this order requires ERCOT to, quote, ensure that firm load that is being shed in this EEA3, which is the crisis, is accounted for in ERCOT's scarcity pricing signals. This directive is based on the Commission's observation in the order that energy prices of less than $9,000 per megawatt hour during load shed conditions are, quote, inconsistent with the fundamental design of the ERCOT market. I mean, it's about money. They're not spinning up power until the money goes down, and they're bidding outside the band so they won't get chosen, or they'll get chosen at the top price. People are suffering because of this, and the news media is not informing people of what's happening. And they'll never know. Instead, we're all like, AOC sucks, Green New Deal, blah. Republicans suck, deregulation, privatizing,
Not your best voice.
Yeah, I haven't had any television, which has been pretty damn nice. My goodness, didn't miss it at all. Anyway, this electric problem, I think that's going to pop up all over the world. You know, we know in the Netherlands, new homes are no longer being built with gas. Boy, I hope nothing happens to you up there.
I love that, by the way.
Yeah, I hope nothing happens to you up there like happened here, you know, in the global cooling that's taking place.
I did have to make a correction. See, people pointed out that Washington State has plenty of natural gas, except on the Olympic Peninsula, where they did ban it and discourage its use.
Okay. In Norway, just to give you an example, electric cars, electric vehicles, very popular. This is from Lawrence, one of our producers, because they're not subject to the 60 to 90% import tax of traditional combustion engine cars. And I don't think they make...
That's unfair.
I don't think they make any... Well, this is how it gets pushed. So 10% of all... 280,000 of all 2.8 registered vehicles in Norway are 100% EV. So now the government is saying, the grid is getting a little overloaded. We'd really like people not to be charging your cars overnight. You know, you can only do it on this certain day. Don't charge it in the morning due to the weather load on the electricity network. Do you see where this is headed? Do you see the problem with the dependency? Man, where's my backyard nuke?
If everything is all going to be electricity instead of a combination of ingredients, which includes gasoline and coal and fossil fuel, which is coal too, but it's in an older form. Mm-hmm. If you're just going to have everything having to funnel through the one point of, that one single point of failure, the electrical grid, it's dumb. What would be the point? It's crazy.
Yeah. So this is long from over, I think. They've already said that over the next few weeks they will have to do rolling blackouts to bring everything back up. It obviously depends a lot on the weather, but now we're seeing the crummy plumbing, which is not at all thought about. I'm sad because we've known in general, whenever the government officials say right, we pretty much look left and say that's probably the best solution. For some reason, it turns out that way most of the time. We have talked about global cooling versus global warming forever on this show. And yet, still, the BBC still has the audacity to post December, just at the end of December, snowy winters could become a thing of the past as climate change affects the UK. Children will never. How
going to come up with this bromide?
They keep doing it, and right now the UK blanketed. So if someone had been honest or whatever the hell is going on about this global warming bull crap, and it said we're in the start of the solar minimum, or the Marauder minimum ice age. What is it called? What's the exact term?
Yeah, I don't have it in front of me. I didn't print that out. But yes, there is a 350, 400-year cycle where the sun kind of cools down.
Right.
Just a bit, but it cools down just enough to trigger an ice age, a mini ice age. And that's been ongoing. It started, and they think it was supposed to start in 2013 or sometime recent. It's ongoing. We're in it. We're in it.
Yeah.
And I think your example there in Texas is a good point, proving it. But I was reading about this, and I had to say maybe it was they were such a rush. They kept promoting, the global warmists kept promoting, we've got only so long, we got to do now, there's a tipping point. Oh, tomorrow is going to be the last chance we have. And there was this rush to promote this idea.
Yes. Texas
and then Trump shows up.
Yep. Man, Texas is the tipping point.
And Trump shows up and he puts it off, and he takes us out of the Paris Climate Agreement, and he says this is bullcrap, and it throws the whole calendar off by 4 years. No wonder they hate him. I don't know if they can recover.
This is interesting. Back in 1970, this is a great timeline because they got confused. Some of the same people who are yelling global warming, climate change back in 1978, I picked the clip up. We've played it before. It's only a minute 20. Everybody was convinced that we would witness global cooling, a mini ice age. In fact, Dr. Spock, Leonard Nimoy, did an entire special in 1978. Here's a minute and 24.
In 1977, the worst winter in a century struck the United States. Arctic cold gripped the Midwest for weeks on end. Great blizzards paralyzed cities of the Northeast. One desperate night in Buffalo, 8 people froze to death in marooned cars. Pat Bushnell was on the road that night.
Traffic just absolutely stopped. I was afraid of being stuck in the car all night long with the cold and the wind, running out of gas. And then what? I think that if we had to go through a real bad winter, just like we just went through, I think we'd have to think about moving someplace else.
Move where? The brutal Buffalo winter might become common all over the United States. Climate experts believe the next ice age is on its way. According to recent evidence, it could come sooner than anyone had expected. At weather stations in the far north, temperatures have been dropping for 30 years. Seacoasts, long free of summer ice, are now blocked year-round. According to some climatologists, within a lifetime, we might be living in the next ice age.
All right. So that's
by the way, it's Mr. Spock, not Dr. Spock. That was the
Oh my goodness!
Pediatrician.
What a faux pas! I'm sorry. Spock.
Yes.
Status, Spock. Thank you for that. Thank you for that correction.
Spock.
So how about this? Try this on for size. So he said, the evidence, and then it didn't happen. Stuff started to warm up, and these people were confused because they knew that they could make a ton off of something just by saying the weather's dangerous. And then it started to warm up, and they said, oh, crap, let's switch. Mr. Spock, no good. Bring in Al Gore. We'll call it global warming. Show some polar bears. Do all that. Then
there are more polar bears than ever, by the way.
Yep. And he, in his movie, An Inconvenient Truth, gave him the Oscar, all that stuff. And then it starts going. They're building up. They're thinking about stuff, getting ready. They even got, the whole stock market, everything to fall apart, 2008. So we're ready for carbon credits and a whole new way of valuing stuff. And then they noticed the damn polar vortex. I played that one more time because it's Bumper Morgan, who passed away in May, who made that. And they see these polar vortexes getting worse and worse and worse, knowing that the climate, and then they have to come up with stuff like, weather's not climate, bro.
That didn't last that long. They kept promoting it.
Weather's not climate, bro. And then, the polar vortex is getting worse. They're like, okay, we got to ram this shit through. And then you're right. Trump came in. He stopped the Paris Accord. Everything's broken. But they see it coming. And this may be the tipping point that can't get them back. Because it's too hard to claim climate change for this.
Well, there's a couple of things that I've noticed besides the fact, and that, by the way, that would account for a lot of the Trump hate.
It makes sense. It's all money, man.
And I've noted when we started talking about the switcheroo from global freezing to global warming, the list of scientists, a lot of them are dead because this was all in the 70s, and there was hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of articles, front page stories in the Newsweek and elsewhere about the coming ice age. A lot of the guys switched over to global warming because there was more money in it, but there was a few, and a lot of them died, but there were a few laggards that still maintain the global cooling argument, and I'm going to try to find one or two of them if they're still alive and chat it up with them, or have them guide me to some new literature.
Well, isn't one of them came back in Obama's administration? Holdren.
The cooler?
Holdren. Yeah, Holdren was the cooler. Holdren, Obama science advisor. Yeah, that guy was old. Here, John Paul Holdren. Yeah, he's from 1944. I think he was the guy who was all in on global cooling and then came back in with Obama as a global warming specialist.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, he's just a switcher. The guy who switches.
Yeah, he's just
one of the guys. There are guys that are supposedly still promote the global cooling thing. And there's just a few of them left.
But you want to find the good guys. No, good luck with that.
Well, the guys that stayed the course, not the ones who switched over to the mysterious CO2 magic. Carbon pollution.
Carbon magic, baby. Yeah. We went from CO2 to plain old carbon pollution. Exactly.
Well, I'm sorry you got a little cold snap there.
No, it's okay. It's fascinating, but it fits in with what is taking place in front of our very eyes. And you had a great rant on the last show. One of our producers made an end of show mix I think you'll like, which is all this, well, you call it doctored evidence. The doctored evidence clip.
Yeah.
Hold on. I want to play that. It's 1 minute. Do you mind? It's you, so you'll like it. Hold on a second.
No problemo.
No problemo. Here, Doug Longenecker did it.
Wait. That's not enough.
Smirking. She's got that big grin.
You are bloodthirsty for ratings.
This is the whole thing is doctored evidence. It's like everything we get is nothing but doctored evidence. With COVID, phony hospitalizations, doctored evidence. Phony. Doctored evidence. And and the very fine people hoax. Doctored evidence, bullcrap. And media's all in on the whole thing. And then if you go all the way back,
it was absolutely shocking.
What happened to that FBI lawyer? Doctored evidence.
Shame.
If you go all the way back,
enough for you?
Shame.
Doctored evidence. Back to East Anglia and climate change. The whole thing is doctored evidence. It's like everything we get is nothing but doctored evidence.
Shame.
It's an anthem, man. It's an anthem. Doctored evidence. So let's add the energy markets to our list of stuff we learned in the past year that is completely messed up, corrupt, and not in our best interest. I'll just run down the list because I think we should keep it. Education, teachers' unions, universities, what they're teaching, messed up. Politicians, all hooked up to China, like Mitch McConnell and Swalwell, and then there's Pelosi and all these corrupt a-holes. We got elitists who are eating out at French Laundry. We got Cuomo who's killing old people. Who gives a crap? The pharmaceutical industry pushing shit down your throat, opioids, which addicted people, and they lied about it. Sackler, for the second time around, he did it with Vicodin. The medical community. How about health insurance, anybody? That's not a scam. Just China. NBA, Apple, Nike, using slave labor, stock market, Wall Street bets, climate change, central banks, fiat, white helmets, fake news, corrupt media, Hollywood, Silicon Valley, big tech, big agriculture, which is now behind India. That is a World Economic Forum UN 2030 Sustainable Development Goals in process. I got a whole thing about it in the show notes. They're going to get 250 million farmers. Goodbye. And now Bill Gates tells us to eat processed meat. Here.
By the way,
literally,
in my rant about doctored evidence, the white helmets is a great example.
Yes.
What a phony deal that was. And didn't they win the Nobel Prize or almost did?
Prizes. I think the documentary won a prize. Yeah, exactly. It's all phony. No wonder 30-year-old guys like Tim Pool are popular, because all his guests come on and say, hey, everything sucks ass. Government, no good. This is no wonder. Bill Gates literally selling phony baloney. Does it get any better than that?
I don't know why they keep Bill Gates is getting on my nerves.
Bill Gates, man. Here, check this out. This is you'll like this. You know, he was on 60 Minutes. And I have some clips from that if we want to switch to COVID. But he also did the 60 Minutes overtime, which, you know, because gosh knows that incredibly valuable airtime. We can't waste all of it. This is the promo for Bill Gates on 60 Minutes overtime.
Bill Gates' advice on how to combat mistrust in science at 60minutesovertime.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
I mean, can it get any fucking crazier? And just putting it right out there. Sponsored by Pfizer. I mean, come on. Come on. That's not okay.
Nah.
Yeah,
I'd like to switch to COVID. I got a few COVID clips. People need to know because they're not letting up. In fact, if you just play this clip, this will give you the good example. Mary Bruce 2022 clip.
Okay.
And on the big question, when will life get back to normal? The administration and top health experts had said by fall, but now...
By next Christmas, I think we'll be in a very different circumstance, God willing, than we are today.
Dr. Fauci now predicts some, quote, degree of normality by the beginning of 2022.
Wait. I thought it was going to be last Easter.
I want to thank the clip custodian, Neil Jones. He sent me some really good clips about this. You know, the guy who I think now knows he's somehow setting the tone, but no one can repeat his message, is this douche Osterholm. This guy is, I mean, he might just give him a sickle and a hood. And this guy comes along, you're about to die. And then he's in charge now. And so now we have the CDC guidelines, which no one seems to be able to communicate properly. The CDC says, hey, teachers go back to work. Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, president, vice president, they're like, no, they should be prioritized. Yeah, they should kind of get vaccines first because they're still in the middle of negotiating with the teachers' unions. It's so pathetically transparent. But this is what Osterholm really wants. Play, douche.
Let's start, Michael, with that 91% in the red zones. Nobody wants that red color. Do you think these CDC guidelines are enough?
I think they are enough, particularly if you're looking at children from K to 8th grade. There we do see very little transmission between students or between students and teachers. When you get into the high school age, that's a bit of a different issue. But there really is a real red flag coming down the road, I think, and that is these new variants that we're talking about. A particular one from the United Kingdom, I think, is going to cause such a surge in cases over the course of the next 14 weeks that I think a lot of schools are going to be challenged to open at all.
The guy keeps talking about this.
I have the variants set up, and then I have 3 clips on the variants from Rosemary Fry, a researcher who goes through all the paperwork that had this variant thing all kicked into high gear.
Tonight, the CDC now warning those new, more contagious variants spreading across the U.S. could easily cause another surge in COVID cases.
I know these variants are concerning. I'm talking about them today because I am concerned too.
They believe the UK variant will be the dominant strain, and soon it is more transmissible, and new UK data showing it's likely more deadly. Tonight, the CDC is also tracking the South African variant, now found in at least 9 states and Washington, D.C. A new CDC report now shows the South African variant caused a 16-fold increase in cases in 1 month in Zambia. There is concern over what could happen here in the U.S. And when it comes to masks, tonight, federal authorities have revealed they seized close to 10 million counterfeit 3M N95 masks in recent weeks. Hundreds of thousands in fake masks found at a warehouse in Western Maryland.
The mask, I got another story on the mask, but let's listen. Let's listen to this woman who's just laughing her ass. She's on it was on Vimeo. You can't get this stuff on YouTube anymore.
Yeah.
And this is
YouTube
Rose.
is sucking now, man. They've anything that's fun is gone.
They don't even have a cat playing the piano anymore.
What the fuck? I'm sorry. Lockdown talk.
Rose Fry on COVID variants.
So I think a few minutes to do a video about how based in reality and hard facts is the science that's being thrown at us from public health officials about these new variants that are suddenly cropping up and around the world, in England, in the UK, in Brazil. And that they're telling us now, first they're saying, well, it's going to spread a lot more quickly. And now they're telling us not only will it spread more quickly, that it's going to be causing a lot more death. And also that now, before they were saying that these new variants are still going to be fine, that the vaccines are going to deal with them. And now they're saying, no, that won't work either. The vaccines won't work against them. So I just wanted to take a few minutes and just go through. I've written a long article that goes with this, but I wanted to go through some of the science that all these layers upon layers are built on. And those studies are primarily on one mutation that's said to be in the novel coronavirus. And that causes now it causes to be more transmissible, to be more contagious than ever. And there are 3 main papers that the scientists and public health officials and politicians rely on to tell us that, it's much more transmissible. And I've got the 3 papers in front of me. And one of them, and the thing is, we have to ask ourselves, where were these published? Were they actually reviewed by other scientists to make sure they're accurate before they were published? And also, are they based on human people interacting with the virus, or are they based on animal studies like mice with the virus, or even farther removed, just cells from a mouse in a petri dish? And if we look at these 3 studies, we'll see pretty quickly that they're very far removed, unfortunately, even though the authors say, they reflect on the real virus in real situations and people.
So is she saying that these are abnormal variants?
She says this is all ginned up in a lab. And the papers are... And the papers are bogus. They're not bogus. No, the papers are real, but they're just lab stuff. It's like stuff people do when they want to, get some money or get some attention or get published.
Did they create a variant?
Well, here, listen to part. Here she goes for the first two papers. You'll get the idea.
The first one is titled Adaptation of SARS-CoV-2 in bulb C mice for testing vaccine efficacy. And what this is they took the virus and they put it through a few cycles of reproducing it. And then they put it into mice, a special type of mouse. And they said, oh, well, look, there's more binding, and therefore there's more binding of the virus to cells in this little model that really was divorced from reality, and therefore it's going to be more contagious, without actually going to that extra important step of saying, well, it is more contagious. Without really, yes, they didn't do that. So then let's take the next paper, and there's similar problems. This paper is called an engineered decoy receptor for SARS-CoV-2 and broadly binds protein S sequence variants. So they're taking an engineered decoy receptor, so something that's not even real in real life. They engineered it to bind to the virus. And they're saying, oh, it binds very well. It binds a lot. So based on that, we're supposed to say, oh, that means that when we have because in there's a particular mutation. So they're trying to have us say that, oh, when we have something that has this particular mutation that they've found, and they say it binds more closely, oh, so therefore it's more transmissible. So we kind of just have to take their word for it, because this is just an engineered decoy receptor. Again, it's not really showing anything in real life. It's not really using proper antibodies.
Okay, so if I understand what she's saying, is that they'll find a variant, which I like mutant better, but okay, they'll find a variant, they'll find a mutant, and then they'll do some tests, and then based upon those tests with a special mouse, they say, well, it's more transmissible, even though they're not getting that from field evidence, just saying it in the lab. And that's what they do, these people. They do that stuff all day long.
And then and she goes on by, this is the third clip. I could have gone into a fourth and fifth clip where she goes after the media for just picking this stuff up because it gets attention and all the rest. But we already know that.
Yeah.
So let's listen to the third one, which actually has kind of a little gag in there. It's kind of funny.
And then we also have a third paper called Deep Mutational Scanning of SARS-CoV-2 Receptor Binding Domain Reveals Constraints on Folding and ACE2 Binding. And so again, this is saying that we're taking a receptor binding domain. So that's just part of the virus, a little part of the virus. They're putting in a petri dish, and they're doing a whole bunch of steps that actually in this paper are very hard to follow. And they're saying, oh, look, there's more binding, and therefore the virus binds more tightly when it has this mutation, and therefore it means it's going to spread more widely. But it's very interesting. I found an article, a quotation from an article from one of the authors of this paper, Deep Mutational Binding, and in fact, from August last year, so just a few months ago. Her name is Alison Greery. And she says, well, the virus as it is, the novel coronavirus without any mutations, binds quite well to this receptor in the cells. So there's no reason to believe that going beyond that level will make it more pathogenic or transmissible. It can have a bunch of mutations that won't make any difference. So here is an author of one of these papers, new papers, that says, oh, mutations, it's going to be more transmissible. It's terrible. It's going to be just spread like wildfire. And yet here she was a few months earlier saying, no, it can bear a lot. There can be a lot of mutations that won't make any difference.
She better be posting that on the BitChute pretty soon, because that ain't going to last. That ain't going to last. Wow. Sir Seat Sitter, I'm not quite sure. He interviewed David Icke. Does Sir Seat Sitter have a show that I should know about? I'm probably an idiot. But
everyone has it. Have you noticed everybody that listens to our show has a show?
Yeah, these are all sprouting from our loins, John, from our podcast loins.
Loin sprouts, something I don't want to imagine.
And I like David Icke. The guy does the work. He does the research. He's said a lot of things over the years that turned out to be true. A lot of things, still waiting on the lizard people. But I'm kind of down with that.
We subscribe to the lizard people.
Here's Icke on the non-existence of the COVID virus in general.
You follow this through. You follow this through with all the Freedom of Information Act requests that have been sent out to many and various health authorities in different countries, asking the simple question, can you give us the paper that describes how the virus was isolated and therefore shown to exist in and of itself? And every single one has come back saying we don't have that information.
Now, the reason I played this in the next clip is in the context of this, what's her name, the Dr. Rose Fry. I presume she's a doctor.
No, she's a master of science. She's a researcher, pure researcher. She reads these papers.
What Ike states in this clip is the SARS-CoV-2 virus itself was created in the same manner as these highly transmissible variant studies were done.
There's another doctor in America who from early on was saying there is no virus. And it's a man called Dr. Tom Cowan. And he produced a brilliant article a few weeks ago from a paper published on the CDC website. And it was by 20 virologists, and they were describing the, quote, isolation purification, as it's called, and the biological characteristics of this so-called SARS-CoV-2 virus, and the process by which they came to these conclusions. And what they said was that they had only identified what they claimed they'd identified, 37 base pairs of this alleged virus out of the approximately 30,000 that they allege the genome of an intact virus contains. And what they did, this is all in this paper, is they took the 37 segments of 30,000 and they put them into a computer program which filled in all the rest. And Cowan, in this article, describes it brilliantly when he says that it's the equivalent of this. A group of researchers claim they found a unicorn because they found a piece of a hoof, a hair from a tail, and a snippet of a horn. They then add that information into a computer and program it to recreate the unicorn. And then they claim this computer recreation is the real unicorn. But of course, they've never actually seen a unicorn, so it's not possible that they've examined its genetic makeup to compare their samples with the actual unicorn's hair, hooves, and horn. The researchers claim they decided which is the real genome of SARS-CoV-2 by consensus, sort of like a vote.
Or climate change. I think that could be
I'm
true.
Not buying this. That ship that the thing doesn't exist long since sailed.
Okay. He sticks to his guns. I like that. Did you know that we have names for the mutants in America? Everyone's talking about maybe this is...
They're just numbered.
No, baby. No. I don't know. Maybe we don't want to get shamed or, we want to make sure that... No, because we have the South African variant, we have the UK variant.
Right. They want to
circumvent. They want to move it out of China. Now, what could be funnier than the names they've come up with? CNN will tell us.
Here's one of the worries right now. We've talked about the UK variant, the South African variant. Well, there are 7 variants believed to be homegrown here in the United States. They're giving them bird names.
What is this homegrown shit, brother? Homegrown? Okay.
Homegrown?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Homegrown here in the United States. They're giving them bird names. Robin 1 in 30 states, predominantly the Midwest.
Now, you can say bird name, but when I hear Robin, I think Batman. I think it's a joke. I think they threw this in just as a joke. Hey, man, remember that bat story we sold everybody? It's called these variants.
I immediately thought of Robin Leach.
Ooh.
It's Robin 1 in 30 states.
Why am I shouting?
Robin 2 in 20 states, predominantly in the Southeast. And then there's a pelican variant that's been discovered in 13 states, plus in Australia, Denmark, Switzerland, and India. Again, as the virus mutates, that concerns doctors, which is why they want to shove the case count down.
I think they're doing this to give it a more global feel, so you can say the pelican virus instead of, shaming one country.
Using these terms. These guys are stretching. They are the Chinese news network.
Hello?
Even CGTN won't go this far. They won't.
Oh, it's true.
They play it kind of straight. CNN, they're off the rails.
So there's total 7 in America now.
This morning, growing concerns about variants of the coronavirus. The New York Times reports doctors have now found 7 variants of the virus that originated in the U.S., spotlighting the urgent need for better tracking of cases and mutations.
All of these variants had the same exact mutation. Now, that could just be a coincidence, but some researchers are worried that could this mean that the virus is getting smarter and adapting?
The virus is getting smarter. Woo! Here it comes. It's nocturnal, Stay home. Yeah. Well, we know what this leads to. It's obvious.
In South Africa, there were people who got infected with the original virus, recovered, and then got reinfected with this new variant, the South African variant, which tells us that prior infection does not protect you against reinfection, at least with this particular variant. Somewhat good news is it looks like the vaccine is better than natural infection in preventing you from getting reinfected with the South African isolate.
Oh, my God. This is just a lie.
Oh, it's not over. It's not over. Bill Gates has his eye on the prize.
Do you mean that you would get a booster in addition to your first 2 shots, or in your next yearly set of vaccinations, you would get a totally new, just like a flu shot, an influenza shot, changes each year?
Yeah, both of those may be necessary if we can't eradicate it from all humans. If it's still circulating, we might need something that takes this new shape of the spike protein and is more tuned to that. So you might need a 3rd shot this year. And then if it's still out there, we'll be looking at how your antibodies, how your protection goes down over time, and deciding how often you'll need another shot. Probably not yearly, but as long as it's out there, we want as many Americans as possible not to be spreading it to each other.
This man's thinking is contrary to human life.
These people are sick. Yeah, it is. It's contrary to the human experience. It's all new. We got this new mystery thing taking place, and it's bull crap. Things are working fine in places like Florida and Texas, except for your weather.
Ooh, I have a good one on that. Stephanie Ruhle. She's the former Deutsche Bank favorite of the trading floor boys. I'm just going to say it. Goldman Sachs, I'm sorry. And she is on with Andy Slavitt, who is now the chief guy, the administrator for Medicare. And she's trying to figure out the difference between California and Florida.
Let's start with what we just saw. Contrast states like Florida and California. California basically in lockdown, and their numbers aren't that different from Florida.
Well, good morning, Stephanie. Look, there's so much of this virus that we think we understand, that we think we can predict, that's just a little bit beyond our explanation. What we do know is that the more careful people are, the more they mask and social distance, and the quicker we vaccinate, the quicker it goes away and the less it spreads. But we have got to get better visibility into variants. We don't know what role they play, large events, etc. But, this is, as we all have learned by this time, this is a virus that continues to surprise us. It's very hard to predict, and all around the country, we've got to continue to do a better job.
How about a non-answer?
That made no sense what he said.
No, of course not. They can't answer a simple question, and it's not like she's doubling down and saying, "Well, you didn't answer the question." And this vaccine, this has to be stored at what's it, -70? What is the?
So, it's your temperatures there. It's fine in Austin.
Well. Interesting, this very special concoction. We saw story after story about refrigeration. We have all
deep freeze refrigeration, not just any refrigeration.
Yeah, this is crazy. This is high tech, baby. This is some shit here. We are tuning your system. what happens in Houston?
More than 8,000 COVID vaccines nearly went to waste after a storage facility lost power. More than 5,000 of those were distributed, some to Rice University. The rest saved.
The vaccine supply we thought we were going to lose in a few hours, we could actually re-refrigerate and administer later.
Dude, I don't even refreeze my meat.
What?
What is going on? This is wrong. We just froze it again.
This is like taking bad milk and thinking it's going to go good if you put it back in the refrigerator.
This tripped me out. Tina's playing that.
It's either bad milk or it's not.
We were able to refreeze it. Woo, lucky. I can't put me at the front of the line for that one. That's the batch I want. Finger licking good. But that's nothing.
I have one more clip, but I want to save it for the end of the series because I do have this, though. This is the 2021 flu hospitalizations clip from ABC.
Okay.
Well, we could take this. There was encouraging news today on the flu season here in the U.S. The CDC reporting the lowest rate of flu-related hospitalizations since they began keeping records. 165 hospitalizations, 165 between October 1st and early February, compared to 400,000 in that time last year. And
it even vibrates like real.
There. All right. I got some humor for you, but this is stuff.
Wait a minute. Go back and reconsider what you just played. We have 128 flu hospitalizations compared to 400,000.
Yeah, but people just listen to that and go, whatever. No one thinks about
and he glosses it over like there's nothing to it. Oh, look at this good news.
Yeah. It doesn't surprise me. You walk around town, if you could, and you say, what happened to flu? They said, it was really low this year. It was great. Imagine the problems we would have been in if there was actual flu. Huh? No, that's not the topper. In Melbourne, they had to move infected human resources from one COVID hotel to another COVID hotel for them to quarantine. And these are diseased people, and they treat them as such.
Welcome back to the show and that breaking news on the evacuation of COVID-positive patients from Melbourne's hot quarantine hotel. And just to reiterate, this is COVID-positive patients being moved with garbage bags over their head out of the hotel. Today's Christina Ahern has been leading coverage.
Wait for it.
Exclusively all morning. Chris, good morning to you. A major operation underway.
Yeah, that's right. I've already seen one resident from this hot hotel, the Holiday Inn in Flinders, leave. Now, what they're doing is they're taking the bags out first. Then this resident left with a garbage bag over their head. Only saw them fleetingly for a couple of seconds or so. They went onto the Sky Bus by themselves, and then that bus was driven away with the driver in full PPE. Destination, the Pullman Hotel, which will be their new health hotel.
John, there's video of this. These poor people, they're putting garbage bags over their head for transportation.
That's what their Australian government's doing, is they're calling their own people garbage. It's symbolic.
I think they didn't want to be shamed for having it, so they wanted to be anonymous. This, I think, is the truth. That they requested the garbage bags. That's even worse. This is very, very, very distressing to hear.
Very distressing.
I mean, it's funny, but oh my goodness, this is not
funny. Yeah, it is funny. It's pathetic funny.
It's very pathetic funny.
I wanted to get back to that. I did have that little clip which kind of hinted about these fake masks.
Yeah. Yes.
And they showed them, and they were, they look like, they didn't say N20, whatever. It said M for, 3M.
Yeah.
But I want to see if you can spot the little screwiness to this report. This is the idiotic face mask report on ABC.
All right, so let's get right to Stephanie, because that was concerning. How do you know if you have one of these masks, Steph? And what about the ones that might have made it past those warehouses?
Well, David, that's the challenge, being able to tell the difference between an authentic 3M95 mask or a fake one. You'll want to look for the NIOSH stamp, which means it's been tested by the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health. Also, a legit N95 mask won't have any misspellings and it won't have ear loops. Make sure it has a head strap. Authorities say they've reached out to hospitals, medical facilities, and possible victims who may have purchased the fake masks in at least 12 states.
Hold on, there was a lot going on there. I got thrown off by the head strap.
I'll just tell you what it is. She says, keep a lookout for because the mask it's all printed and everything is perfect. She says, look out for the NIOSH stamp that shows that it's official. Well, why wouldn't they just print the NIOSH stamp on there too at the counterfeiters? This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard.
It makes no sense.
It makes no sense. So you're going to print the 3M logo and all the rest on there. You'd print the stamp too, the fake stamp. And they keep an eye out for this.
Wow.
Hard to take.
I just got a couple of things here. We're going to wrap this up. Something weird.
Yeah, I got the one. Believe me, I got the one last clip. So
okay. All right. Jake Tapper, weird, nutty vaccine thing. What was this?
In the health lead, what may be an added benefit of the COVID vaccine. Not only can it prevent a person from feeling symptoms, but now Dr. Anthony Fauci says new studies show that the vaccine might also slow the spread of the virus.
What kind of vaccine is this? The vaccine, it's so great. It might slow the spread of the virus. Why is this news?
I've heard this all week. They're making a big deal out of this particular. Isn't the vaccine supposed to stop the virus in you, and that would naturally slow the spread?
If it was a true vaccine, correct.
But it's not a true vaccine. It's just a witch's brew experiment.
Look like it. Yeah. Just as a side note,
and even the one that comes from the Johnson & Johnson, the other was some monkey virus. Or some monkey disease.
The monkey version. Yeah, that's Johnson & Johnson.
They send you a shot of monkey. You turn into a monkey.
Yippee. Jake Tapper, I can't take him seriously, especially after I learned today. I don't know if this is doing the rounds. Someone sent it to me. He once dated Monica Lewinsky before the Bill Clinton scandal, but he also wrote about it when he was writing for the Washington City paper. And besides it's just funny, he writes really misogynistically because back in the day it was normal to say, well, she was kind of zafty. She wasn't ugly. She was zafty. I guess a code word for thick or chunky.
Yeah, it's from the Yiddish, zoftig.
Did you know that he had dated Monica?
I never heard this.
Yeah. And he wrote about it.
The word must have gone around.
And he wrote about it. So, but he could get canceled over this. That's the kind of stuff.
Should be canceled.
That's the kind of stuff that children go ape crap over and cancel.
All right, so I'm going to wrap.
Your clip is the last one. I just want to.
You still got more?
The last one. It's important.
Gans explains what it means to get Fauci'd.
Navigating dating virtually is tough enough, and you've also got an all-new lexicon of love to learn, too.
What, like it's hard?
Zumping, that's when you use Zoom to dump someone. Zooty call, that's when you use Zoom to do something else.
Oh my God.
And now there's Fauciing, a term first coined by the dating app Plenty of Fish. Fauciing, verb, means declining to date someone because you don't feel they're taking COVID-19 seriously enough.
On top of being worried about ghosting or catfishing, now I have to worry about being Fauci'd. Is this a thing? Is being Fauci'd a thing?
Yeah, what we're seeing at OkCupid is thousands
I knew you'd like it.
Who said they wouldn't even bother meeting up with someone who wouldn't be open to socially distancing.
Forget Cupid. The Fauci effect is in full force. The doctor himself learning about Fauciing just this week.
I'm going to Fauci you.
But
he's so jitty about himself.
Oh, he probably loves that little term Fauci ouchie, which is now the shot term for the shot.
And he got $1 million encouragement prize for defending science. Yeah, hold on. You got to hear this.
The guy knows how to work it.
Wait, I'll be done after this. Here.
The laureate of the present time dimension in the field of public health is Dr. Anthony Fauci, for his exceptional contribution to HIV research, for being the architect of the U.S. President's emergency plan for AIDS relief, saving millions of lives in the developing world, for his leadership in heading the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, and in particular for fighting for the recognition of novel approaches such as mRNA vaccines now being given to millions worldwide, and for courageously defending science in the face of uninformed opposition during the challenging COVID crisis.
Well, how about that? And they have the audacity to give him credit for HIV/AIDS, where he killed people.
Well, he's still in the process of doing that, looks like to me.
Unbelievable. All right, give me your last.
Okay, so this is the clip that this is the thing I really despise, this clip. Because I have to, because this is the part of the battle between you and me.
I have no battle with you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I do?
Yeah, with the vaccine passport. And
I wouldn't call it a battle.
So the vaccine passport, this is interesting. This came out of France 24 because the French are resisting. Good for them, which we are going to have to do too. But it's a lot of countries that are knuckling under to this idea are very disappointing. I'm very disappointed in Iceland, for example, and Poland, for that matter. But here we go. Here's the update on the current status of the vaccine passport.
The debate over the ethics and practicality of so-called vaccine passports is ramping up here in France, with a new online survey set to ask French people what they think of the idea. Bahrain has become the latest country to launch such a programme, following in the footsteps of Israel and also Iceland. But the issue continues to divide opinion across the European Union. Karis Garland explains.
There are two sides to the arrivals terminal in Iceland's capital. One where incoming passengers wait to be tested before self-isolating, and another for the few who have been vaccinated against COVID-19, like this woman from Denmark.
I have got the 2 vaccines.
You don't have to quarantine
at all?
No,
for first time in many months, so I'm happy now.
Iceland was one of the first countries to use a vaccine passport amid the pandemic. Sweden, Poland, Estonia, Cyprus and Greece have either implemented vaccine passport systems or announced plans to do so. For some countries, the goal is to facilitate travel, but others, like Israel, go even further. Almost 45% of the country's population has received the 2 injections. By the end of the month, only those vaccinated against COVID-19 will be able to visit gyms, hotels, theatres and places of worship. Several southern EU countries that rely on tourism are calling on the bloc to adopt a common policy on the issue. But with only 3% of the EU's population having received 1 dose so far, it doesn't look to happen soon.
We are here to make sure that our citizens get the vaccines as fast as possible, that these vaccines are followed up by certificates, and then for anything that comes afterwards, it is indeed a political discussion to be had at the moment when the political leaders decide to do so.
France, for its part, has expressed reservations on the issue, with Health Minister Olivier Véran saying not everyone has access to vaccines, and it's unclear if the jabs actually prevent transmission.
Nice ender.
So I have to have a vaccine passport to go to the synagogue in Israel?
It sounds
That's what
like
it said.
Sounds like it. Sounds like
they
it.
Should be ashamed of themselves.
Now, I have a Red Book entry from November 12th about passports for access. I'm in no way going to claim any victory because the conversation was specifically about Ticketmaster and venues of the like. Vaccination passports and proof of vaccination is required has always been required by most countries. The United States immigration requires you to show that you've had a number of basic vaccinations. If not, you will have to take them again and prove it. And also a negative HIV test. Unless you're sneaking over the border, then all of that's not important.
That's fine. You're good to go.
It's not important. So I can, even though I disagree because it's what this is, which does not warrant it. There's no passport for people coming from Ebola countries, and they got some kind of vaccine for that. The problem is, it's so obvious that this is where it's headed. It's another piece of the biosecurity state pharma thing that they want to implement. It just seems logical. And especially with these variants and extra boosters and third shot, and it's just control. How are the French resisting? What are they doing?
The way they always do. They say no.
Burn shit down. Put on a yellow vest and say...
they burn stuff down. They stand in the street.
It's very concerning.
Anyway.
This is very concerning.
Well, it's the resistance is valid. I mean, the French are good. They have some. They're into for liberty is one of the things. We don't even have that in our motto: liberty, fraternity, and equality. What's different?
What's going on in the background there with you?
That is a garbage truck.
Oh, okay. They're backing it up.
It's extremely loud. I don't know. I've never heard that sound before. It sounds like it's killing a duck or something.
Well, then before we break, we might as well just say that I'm certainly sad Rush Limbaugh passed away. For some reason, I kind of had a hope that maybe he would recover. I guess that was silly.
It's always possible. People have done that. I mean, Michael Douglas, was in a situation where he would
with the tongue and throat cancer, yeah.
Well, we have all the creeps on the left came out.
Oh my goodness, Huffington Post. I mean, I'm speechless about the vitriol and the vile that people were writing in eulogies. What's the opposite of a eulogy? There's got to be where you try to kill someone who's already dead. Just do it again.
I don't know.
It was.
I have one clip. I have one sickening clip that I apologize for in advance.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the co-creators of the Seinfeld show, a super guy's loaded, Larry Charles, who was Larry David's partner in creating that show.
Mm-hmm.
And Larry Charles, who looks like a bum off the street, is probably worth, $200-300 million. He had decided to go video and post this on, and by the way, Twitter should be ashamed of itself for allowing any of this. They won't allow anything, but they did. All this anti-Rush stuff is fabulous. This is great. Let's go. I'm sure Jack Dorsey was just approving it all. And this idiot thinks this is funny.
Rush Limbaugh, another white man propagating hate and lies, is dead. Once he was an important man. Once he mattered. Now he's just decomposing matter.
Oh, my goodness. Now that I think about it, it says something. I'm sure if there's an afterlife, Rush Limbaugh is probably looking down going, I still matter. I still am bugging them even though I'm dead.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But forget about he is a broadcast legend. I met him once. I was fortunate in a way, but at the time didn't realize it. We had the same radio syndicators. Media America, the legendary Ron Hartenbaum and Gary Schoenfeld, they were an independent syndicator of radio shows. They did my top 30 hit list and a couple other things, and Hitline USA. And they are the ones that took Rush and got him advertisers, because these were, it was a scrappy kind of outfit. And I wasn't into politics at the time. I was doing top 40 radio. So I'm like, whatever, this guy, Rush Limbaugh, blah, blah, blah. And I met him one time, and I just felt like everyone was like, why are you just kissing his feet? It was unbelievable. Now, he also was making, at that time, I think about $100 million a year for them at a certain point. And he probably made more at the peak. And he did this on AM radio. I mean, just as a broadcaster, anybody should be able to appreciate that. And this format.
You'd think. Well, I met him once too.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a funny irony to the Rush Limbaugh when he started taking off. He's the one who ended up getting Leo Laporte kicked off of the radio.
I don't know this story.
Had a talk show.
Oh.
Sorry?
I don't know the story.
You never heard the story?
No.
Okay, Leo Laporte was one of those guys who did a formulaic kind of a middle of the road.
Everybody, it's Leo Laporte here. How you doing? Good afternoon. Like that?
And he was on KNBR, I think. It was one of the local stations, KGO, KNBR, or KSFO, I'm not sure. But I used to come on the show and do, that's where I started, I was the...
Oh, that's how you met Leo.
Came on.
Yeah, you were on his show.
Yeah, that's how I met Leo.
Right.
And he got bumped off the air because they decided to go with syndicated content, and they brought in Rush Limbaugh. Leo was bumped. That was the end of him on AM, and he had this scrounger. So he was scrambling after that.
Yeah.
And but there was another twist of that story was that Leo and I eventually did a radio show on one of the local stations that may have been KNBR again, called On Computing. I think it was every Sunday. It was a Sunday show or a Saturday show. And I don't know how somebody got hold of Rush to do a promo for the show.
Cool.
I'm Rush Limbaugh on the Wireless and Tech, because Rush Limbaugh, that's right. I think it was through Mac User or something, because Rush was a
big Mac head. Yeah.
And he kept up with his stuff. So he read me in Mac User. And so I got him to do this promo. And I think we played it once on the show, and then somehow Leo lost it.
He lost it. He lost the promo.
He lost the clip.
You know, I have a Bart Simpson promo, video too, that I've lost over the years. That was nice.
Oh yeah, you can lose stuff,
but animated. Yeah. So,
but when I met him at 21, and he was in 21 Club in New York with a restaurant, and it was a restaurant, it's not a club, but it's called 21, and he was a really nice guy. He was just after some dinner or something. He had a cigar, which was not lit, and he what surprised me about him, he wasn't that tall. He was probably about 5'9", 5'10", maybe.
Oh, okay, that's not that bad.
Maybe, but well, the funny thing, as a reflection of that, I saw some asshole put my height in the Wikipedia as 5'9".
Mine is
5'6". Everybody,
mine is 5'17".
Will somebody go change that?
Mine is 5'17" in the Wikipedia.
Oh, that's cute. Well, at least it's more accurate.
Yeah. Oh, 5'9". But also, have you ever looked at net worth? I'm worth a lot of money online.
Good. Go spend it.
You ever see those?
You're buying.
You ever see those?
Yeah,
those
there's
sites?
A bunch of them out there.
People send it to me.
Some of them are very accurate, and most of them aren't.
No, I've never seen anything accurate, ever.
No, with people that are very rich, the accuracy goes up.
So, how come you and Leo never continued doing a show together?
On computing?
Or just a show together?
Oh, we did it for quite a while, I think for a couple of years, but it was, I never got any money out of it.
Oh, there you go.
Well, just working for free. I'm not going to keep doing that.
It
was because we had this producer who was this guy who just never paid us, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, very funny. You got a good story. Anyway, American legend. I hope he likes all the vitriol that's being spewed, and these people should be ashamed of themselves. Just sick people.
No, there's people on the left that came after Rush after he died. It's just really pathetic.
I think it's time, man. You got one ready?
Oh, yeah, I think so. Oh, there it is.
I didn't hear it.
Well, here.
Oh. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say in the morning to you, the man who put the C in ERCOT, John C. Dvorak.
When do you into in the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry? Into you.
Yeah.
In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry. Also in the morning to all the dames and knights. Thank you.
And the ships at seas and boots on the ground.
Yeah, forget this.
All
ships
that
in the
stuff.
seas.
Well, in the morning to the trolls in the troll room who have been standing by diligently, and I'm still connected to them on our backup systems. And let's hands up there, trolls. 1935, below the 2K mark.
That's not bad for a Thursday.
No, that's true. I don't even know what day it is. I'm so confused. That's noagendastream.com. It's a troll room. It's a chat room, but it's a troll room. You can connect with your own IRC client if you like, or just go to noagendastream.com.
How did you get back? I thought you couldn't connect through the system you're on to get back to the troll room.
No, I went to an outside server, SSH'd in, and got it all done. I'm resourceful.
Oh.
I'm MacGyvering it. Hey, trolls, thank you very much for being here. If you'd like to join them, noagendastream.com. You can listen to the show live, the live stream at all times. Even if it's a previously recorded program, it's fun to troll, and you will meet fine people who will help you out in a pinch. And you can ask them for an invitation for noagendasocial.com. This is our unalgoized, completely made for you, for your protection and convenience, social network. It is federated, which means you can get to it from any other Mastodon-like server, at John C. Dvorak at noagendasocial.com, at Adam at noagendasocial.com. We have about, I think, 1,000 slots left before we close down the on-site registration. Of course, you can always follow and join in from anywhere. That's the whole point. And we need to remember that it's decentralized. That's noagendasocial.com. And a big thank you to the artist for episode 1321, Darren O'Neill. After many attempts over the past few weeks, nailed it with the No Agenda Valentine's gift, a beautiful Valentine box with 3 Pabst Blue Ribbon proudly showcased inside.
We still haven't gotten any free beer, by the way.
Which is
just so you know.
It's all right. Tina and I drank all the 2013 Verite. We had no other wine, so...
Could you have some wine in your cellar?
Yeah, I don't have a cellar. What?
It's bottom of a closet usually does the trick.
Yeah, well, there you go. Let's take a look at this. There were a number of candidates that we discussed on the previous show.
Well, my favorite one, which I was pushing, but you poo-pooed, was Tanta Neal's cour d'etat, which was a heart with a... It just is a pun because you bitched and moaned about you not getting to pick flu d'etat, which is going to be the rage. And then you didn't know the word cour. So,
well, it didn't hit me. It didn't hit me that way. I was like, if it doesn't hit me, then how could it hit anybody else? We need to go for the lowest hanging fruit.
But it didn't hit you because you said that you didn't know what the word meant.
Right. And what does it mean, John?
Yeah, well, I had to accept that probably a lot of people wouldn't know. I thought everyone would know that word. It's common.
And what does it mean?
So, heart.
Yes. And I wonder how many people knew that. What else?
It doesn't matter because we didn't use it.
No. Oh, we're just discussing. Be My Unity. I like that one kind of. Well, there was another one that we thought was good.
Well, we wanted to put a heart, so people don't have to realize, and the artists have to realize that if it's a holiday or something like Valentine's Day, where we did very well as opposed to today where we did okay, we want to celebrate it in the art, and so we needed a heart. And so the only heart that we both agreed on was the heart that Darren O'Neill did, filled with cans of Pabst.
Right.
PBR.
Right.
And
yeah.
And there were other heart. None of them were that good.
No, the heart that I liked, but I kind of understood why you nixed it, was the 2 candied hearts. I can't. Oh yeah, thanks guys, and then that was also Darren O'Neill. Thanks guys, and then he had the other one behind it, eat me, which I think is an actual heart that says eat me, but
no, I don't think so.
I think they're
well, if somebody can find one, I'd like to see a picture. You're not going to be. I mean, the idea of hearts for little kids, passing them back and forth with the little messages on them, and you're not going to hand some girl that heart.
No, I just wanted it on the show.
Or the girl's not going to hand it to you, that's for sure.
I just wanted some album art. I wasn't handing anything to little girls.
I'm just thinking it was just lewd enough that I didn't like it as album art.
Fact check true. They definitely come with Eat Me. It doesn't matter. I was not going to argue it very long with you, but I think what really did it for Darren's Pabst Blue Ribbon box was also the font that he took for it. It was a nice font.
Yeah, he used that font on all of his art for that day.
Yeah,
he did it on the Eat Me one too. But he dug up some hearty font somewhere, downloaded it. He didn't design it, I can assure you, and used it, and it worked.
Very good, Darren. Thank you, and glad to have you back in the saddle. Darren does so much for the show; it's so appreciated.
He one time had 3 in a row, and
I know. Well, he's good. He's got his mojo back. He's got his groove back. NoAgendaArtGenerator.com is where you can find all of the artwork that was submitted. Throughout the program, many different pieces of the art that haven't been chosen or discussed will pop up if you're using one of the new Podcasting 2.0 apps, newpodcastapps.com. And it's all part of our value for value model, where we don't take any creepy advertising money, no corporate money, nothing from China, nothing. Only from you, the producers. You put the show together. You make sure it keeps going. We've been doing it in our 14th year now, and we always like to celebrate.
We don't even have any donors in China.
Well, we have Professor JJ, who does end of show mixes and stuff. Donors?
Yeah, but he's not Chinese, is he?
No, I don't. Not that I know of. No. The
Chinese hate this show. They hate the show.
Line up with the Indians. Although that's not true. We have two listeners in India, I think.
And the Indians have been cut off. So,
do you think it's the incessant playing of China as asshole that might have scared them away, or? I
don't have any control over those buttons. I don't play it.
We like to thank our executive and associate executive producers who came in with the big bucks, so to speak, to help us out for 1322. And here's our list.
Yeah, starting off with Michael Statham, $600 in Layton, Utah. I'm regifting the $600 of treasure that magically showed up in my bank account to the best podcast in the universe. It's government money.
Yay.
Adam, hope to see you in the next Hot Pockets tour. You'll be happy to hear the F-16s are gone. I guess you were bitching about them noisy F-16s. Now there are F-35s.
Yes, I know, Michael. I hooked up to his house when I was there. I think I connected to his house for power.
He says, you'll be happy to hear the F-16s are gone, but now the F-35s are there, and they're louder.
I'll bet.
Why would they be louder? I thought they were stealth.
No. The F-35s are not stealth. The F-35s are the ones that barely fly. That's why you hear...
Yeah, but I thought they were stealthy. And they can shoot over the horizon.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Can I get an F cancer from my friend who passed away in 2020 from brain cancer and my father battling lung cancer now?
Yes, of course.
So he needs F cancer, mac and cheese, Hot Pockets, and karma.
Living the mac and cheese life.
Mac and cheese.
Hot Pockets.
You've got karma.
Brett Samuel, the Sir Dark Fate in Dubai.
Dark Fake.
I'm sorry. I read fake and said fate for some reason. 4/16/67. Bandrew Scott beat me by a week. I was going to call him out as a douchebag because he mentioned No Agenda and the VFV model regularly on his podcast, but only donated for the first time last week.
It's never too late.
Now I'm the douchebag. Consider this as compensation. This also makes me a double knight.
Oh,
Sir Dark Fate.
Fake. You did it again.
I did it again. I look at it. I see it. I see it's fake, and
Let's
keep
analyze
saying fate.
this. What?
Oh, I know why. Dark Fate. This is a Bidenism. It's in my brain. This is our future.
You're infected.
The Dark Fate. Brett happily getting the Sinopharm next. There's I didn't hear of this. Sinopharm vaccine, I guess.
Sinopharm?
I've never heard of it.
No, I didn't know that.
Sinopharm would be a Chinese.
I would think so. Yeah.
Yes, Chinese. Anyway, PayPal data, he's got all these documents here to.
Yeah.
Well, he gets upgraded.
Thank you, Brett. And he's on the list for the upgrade. And let us know how you feel after the Chinese vaccine. I'd like to know more about it. Don't know much about that particular vaccine.
They don't tell us anything.
Well,
we're kept in the dark.
Yeah.
Chris Collins, 3.33 in Walnut Grove, Missouri. Thanks, Rick and Morty, for the best podcast in the universe. I've been a listener since 2008. Can't get enough. I've got one more donation until my knighthood, and I will soon be known as Surrounded by Idiots. And then he says F jingles and F karma. I'll keep it clean.
I'll take this one. Jan Stuurman from Amsterdam, the Netherlands, 333.33. Greetings from the former capital of tolerance in the world, Amsterdam, where peaceful elderly are being water-gunned off the squares and the Prime Minister never even had a PCR test himself. I've been following your show since the beginning of the pandemic. Thank you for bringing the heavily needed reason when all other media failed. I am in the heavily hit hospitality business in Amsterdam. Yeah, no kidding. Adam, you had dinner with the big blonde Dutch podcaster in one of our restaurants in November in 2019. I believe our sommelier Midas spoilt you guys with great wines. I'm trying to remember this now. Welcome.
It must have been really good wines. 2019.
And blonde podcast. Oh. With Robert Jensen. Now I know. Yes. We were spoiled with very good wine. Indeed. He's the sommelier. Thanks for reminding me. Hope to welcome you both back in Amsterdam when the circus is over. I'd love to. I'd love to see my daughter. It's been over a year. What? Almost a year and a half. Anyway, please de-douche me.
You've been de-douched.
And jobs karma for all the wonderful people who've been let go due to the crisis this past year. I've hit many people in the mouth in the last year, and I'm hoping Peter B and PB will not turn out to be a bunch of douchebags. Love to my smoking hot wife Vera, or Fira, and our other two human resources. Shout out to my good friend Radu in Los Angeles. Your rogue is blocking the driveway, bro. Keep up the good work. Guys, love from Amsterdam, Jan Stuurman.
Jobs, and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
That's nice. What restaurant was this?
Oh, goodness. It's a weird one off of the highway. And it has a hotel, but they have the sommelier is my buddy. Who was the big blonde podcaster. He's friends with him, and we must have had 5 different types of wines. It was a great
I remember
night.
this. I actually remember this very well because I think he took some pictures.
Yes.
And it was
scoffed.
hard to believe. My response was it was hard to believe you drank that much wine because you can't drink.
Oh, correct, yes.
But apparently you can in Holland.
Yep. When no one's looking.
Cheryl Cox is next on the list for $333 from Austin, Texas. This is to be counted for Josh Cox on his way to Barony and his second Christmas in Texas celebration, for it's added a 50% off membership to a special web hosting. What? For he has added a 50% off membership special to the web hosting.coop. webhosting.coop. This promo code, NALocal512 at webhosting.coop, where you can get your own domain and email hosted on the cooperative servers. This is an interesting, I never knew about this co-op idea.
I didn't know about it either, to be honest. I like it.
It's in your neighborhood. We are considering personal squirrel mail services.
Yeah, baby.
Jingle.
Yeah. Keep on
for
going.
Texas, can we get a don't send your blankets and water, just send cash jingle?
Oh, this is very interesting. Yes, of course you can get this.
I know a lot of people want to send blankets or water. Just send your cash.
Well, it's been a while since we played this one, and usually we play it when you can't get to your email, but this stuff is so good it never fails. Ladies and gentlemen, I present for you the best email in the world, the only one you need.
Onward with yearly, Y-U-R-L-Y.
Yearly.
Filanoff. Filanoff. $256. In Sydney, Australia.
Nice.
Gentlemen, thank you for your sound. May I request a pinch of job karma for myself and all the producers out there. Cheers. Yearly from Sydney.
Is it Yearly or Yuri? I think it's IY. Yuri.
Oh, yes.
Yuri. Yeah.
Jobs, and jobs.
Even more confusing.
Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
Yeah, you are Y-U-R-I-Y.
Yeah.
I don't know how you pronounce it. Yuri. Hey, Yuri. Ben Purcell's next on the list with $252 from, I don't know, someplace in New Brunswick, Canada.
Quispamsis. Yeah, never heard of this place.
This is my first donation. D-douche me.
You got it.
You've been de-douched.
He listened after Adam's JRE appearance whilst, he uses the word, down in Canada they use the word whilst, working on my local grocery store, or at my grocery store. I went and, wait a minute, he's listening to the Joe Rogan show while working at the grocery store.
Rogan donation.
It's powerful stuff, man.
I went out and checked out these no agenda weirdos, and I felt right at home.
Hey.
Yeah, goofing off on the job. That's us. I haven't missed an episode since, and I never skipped the donation segment. Well, good for you. You shouldn't, because there's good information.
Good content, yeah.
We always drop a few gems. At the time, I had just lost my restaurant gig because of the Kung flu, and I was stuck in a job I hated with no money and only podcasts for refuge from the crappy department store Muzak and a-hole managers telling me to, quote, pull my mask over my nose. I would like to thank you, both of you, for helping me keep informed in my amygdala shrunken, and for all the jobs, Karma, which I'm sure helped me land my first well-paying job after years of wage cucking. I now work for the Canadian Red Cross, registering people at the quarantine hotels.
There you go, with garbage bags.
He's got a good job. Registering people over the phone. I'm still new and I'm not privy to the whole lot of the detail, but I'm sure that'll change. You'll be surprised at the amount of people who just hop on a plane with no plans and then claim refuge status when they arrive. I wonder why. Another large portion of the residents in the hotels are simply there because of the airport decided that their negative test was no good and sent them to... what?
Wow.
This is not...
Yeah, this happened to the one guy who flew in from Iowa with his mom, and they just said, well, we don't know exactly what was wrong, but they said, no, it's no good. And they took him to a COVID hotel, wouldn't tell his family where he was. I presume they took his cell phone. Oh yeah, this is people being disappeared, bro.
Anyway, just hopped on a plane with no plans. Yeah, okay, goes on. I'm sorry, I lost my spot here. Another large portion of the residents of the hotels are simply there because the airport decided the negative test was no good and sent them to the gulags until they've had another negative test. All in all, a waste of time and money for the general public, but a nice, cushy job for me working from home. For jingles, I'd like to request Obama You Might Die, Fauci Wheeze, and a TPP jobs karma out there for any producers who could use it. It really works.
You might die.
Jobs. And jobs.
You've got karma.
Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom.
In Richmond, Virginia, we got Emily Howell at $250. Emily from Richmond, Virginia. Hi, guys.
Hey, guys.
This donation pushes me closer to the coveted No Agenda damehood. No Agenda continues to be my saving grace in such crazy times. Adam, you're my crackpot spirit animal. And JCD, you're one hold on a second.
Say it. Say my name.
No, I'm sorry. I was going back to the $600 donation because the guy did send in a note, but it showed up. I guess Eric transcribed it, or I don't know how it got in there.
I don't know.
Because I was thinking, where's this note I'm supposed to read? Okay, where I lost everything.
Why don't you look at that note, and I'll do Emily Howell, okay?
Yeah, I'll go get the note because it's over on the desk.
You go do that. Emily from Richmond, Virginia here, $250. Hi, guys. This donation pushes me one step closer to my coveted No Agenda damehood. Nice. No Agenda continues to be my saving grace in such crazy times. Adam, you're my crackpot spirit animal, and JCD, you're one hot boomer hipster. Thank you both for the weekly amygdala shrinkage. Okay, now with that out of the way, I need to get some important business to address on today's show. I'd like to call out Swizzy as a douchebag. Swizzy, time to pay up. I may be forced to take more drastic measures if you don't. I hear crystal reading and sage burning are all the rage in making things happen. There's some threats. You've been warned. And these jingles are for you. Fisting nuts, PBR on my mind, and karma.
And then he shakes his fist to try to bring a nut to the little hole. Stop.
I've got Pabst Blue Ribbon on my mind.
You've got karma.
Alrighty then.
That got me off guard. Yeah, this $600 note was transcribed. Not transcribed, but I think he used OCR and put it right in there.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's different. Caught me off guard. Corey Getty is next on the list from Floyd's Knobs.
Love
Indiana.
That. Floyd's Knobs is just the best.
Indiana's got a lot of cool town names. Yeah. My favorite being Gnawbone, which I've been to. $250. Which is different than Floyd's Knobs Bones. Jingles, back up to the back up to back up. This is bullcrap, Fauci, and the French dog karma. I'll be knighted today. Would like to be Sir Fauci's throat. Okay.
All right.
I'm leaving for Navy boot camp next Monday and need some major karma for the security clearance, polygraph, and language school. I'll be training to become a cryptologic linguist.
Oh, cool.
What is that? And he's going to be at Monterey at the Defense Language Institute. Not looking forward to California's lockdowns, mask mandates, and virtual learning, but I am looking forward to recalling Gavin Newsom. Couldn't pick a better time to move to California. Thank you, gentlemen.
A backup and a backup to that backup and a backup to the backup to the backup.
Son of a bitch, son of a bitch, son of a bitch, gun. You thought I was going to say son of a bitch, didn't you?
I call bullcrap.
You've got karma.
I call bullcrap. Tech Wipe in Miami, Florida, $250. First time donor requesting a de-douching.
You've been de-douched.
I very much enjoy your radio talking program. If you continue to talk, I will continue to listen. Thank you for the show, and thank you to everyone on NA Social for making me feel at home. Request: Trump dumps, Fauci wheeze, and karma to all who may need it.
I just love the idea of a radio talking program. What do? I do a radio talking program for a living. How about you? That's something. Yeah. That's something better than, I don't know. I'm a radio talker. No, got to work on it. I got to think about it.
They did dumps. They call them dumps. Big, massive dumps.
You've got karma.
Mike Brewer in Wattle Park, Southern Australia, 24712, South Australia. ITM crackpot buzzkill. Last week, I received some Chardonnay grapes from my winery that arrived with a pH of 3.33. Woo! A sample of Malbec I received a couple of days later also arrived with a pH of 3.33. I've been waiting for a third sign to donate and received 3 within the last 24 hours. My supermarket shopping bill was 33.33. I received a Cinso sample again with a pH of 3.33. And my sister gave birth to a daughter weighing in at 3.33 kilograms. As a result, I'm sending $333.33 dollary dues your way. So he gets upgraded to the executive producer.
Yes, he does.
No jingles, please, but may I request some relationship karma? Thank you for your courage, Mike Brewer.
Yeah, let me just
I'm going to kick out of people whose last names are Brewer and they brew things.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's meant to be.
You've got karma.
I'll be interested in the wine. Sir Cal of Lavender Blossoms.
Hey, there you go, Sir Cal.
Northville, Michigonian, 235.27. If you call your show a mental vaccine, you might make more money. Look at Pfizer. They already made over $10 billion with their scheme. Run with it. Much love, Sir Cal. LavenderBlossoms.org.
Yes, indeed. Sir Shyster, destroyer of cones, checking in from Moses Lake, Washington, 21821. Are you tripping over your Pabst cans again? I should clean that up. In honor of my birthday, which I do not intend to celebrate in any other manner, I'm happy to donate $218.21. I apologize for the delay since my last producership, but I continue to receive a significant amount of value from the best podcast in the universe. A recent conversation I engaged in about objectivity in mathematics being a construct of white supremacy reminded me of the importance of sanity, and it seems to be harder to come by these days. I also want to wish a happy belated birthday to Sir Ryan the Refiner on February 11th, and an early birthday wishes to Jenna on 3/3. They're both on the list. Love, Sir Shyster, destroyer of cones, Moses Lake, Washington. Yeah, that's cropped up again. This math is racist. And I'll have to figure out which MoFax episode it is. But the reason why it's being called racist is because 95% of all the things that these nut jobs tell you can be debunked with math. And they don't want you to do that. So it's racist. It's like, whenever math comes into play and it's used statistics, it's always against you. And they don't want you to know what's really going on. So math is racist, especially asking you how you arrived at your answer. And that's from MoFax. Do with it what you will.
There's some local Oaklanders that are into this, and they're just, I don't have the sheet in front of me, but they're pushing the idea that there's no right answer.
Oh, yeah. 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 As long as you show your work, it doesn't matter if the answer is wrong. But you can't ask someone to show your work. You have to do it out of the goodness of your own incorrect heart.
And it seems to me that this is the same group that was promoting Ebonics. They're the racists. They're trying to keep black kids stupid.
Yeah.
In Oakland.
Well,
so you got your Ebonics and you got your math that doesn't make any sense, and you're good to go.
Didn't Joe Biden...
Good luck finding work.
Didn't Joe Biden during his... I didn't see it, of course. During his town hall say that... I think he literally said minorities, and then he might have even said black. They have much harder time getting online. Did you catch any of that?
I don't have that clip, but it was reported that he said that. I couldn't find it personally, but yeah. Yes. Supposedly, those poor black people, they're so dumb they can't get online. They're all online. Remember the time there was this thing, well, blacks, they're too dumb to get an ID, driver's license.
To find the DMV.
And so they went out on the street.
Yeah.
And everyone they asked about this, every black person they asked about was extremely insulted by this. Yeah, we can get IDs. We know how to do that. We all have IDs. What are you, nuts?
Yeah, well, they are nuts. They're nuts. And they're condescending.
They're condescending and patronizing creeps. And they're the same ones that went off on Rush Limbaugh.
Right.
Richard Garrett's next on the list in Thunder Bay, Ontario, $200. We have no note that I can find from him, but if he has something to say, he can send it in later and we'll read it. Anonymous in Madison, Wisconsin comes up next with the same $200. Actually, it's a different $200. He says, jingles, he wants to donate to No Agenda, Gregorian Chant. He likes that one. Rebelizer, 218 is my birthday. Please put me on the list. He's on the list. Thank you, Adam. My present to myself is a No Agenda knighthood. He's got accounting below. Although Dame is normal, this is a woman. I'm sorry.
Yes, I'm realizing that myself.
I remember her note. It says, although a dame is normal, I'm a woman. I prefer sir. Dame is too akin to damsel. Way too much of a tomboy for that.
All right.
So name me Sir Benedin von Jumeiden.
Sir Beneda van IJmuiden.
She's Dutch.
Yes.
As I'm going to laugh every time John screws it up.
Do it again, John.
Yes, I'll be the butt of the joke. To include the name, which is my Dutch mother's maiden name, and in that thread, please have a veal croquette. And
fla.
Croquettes. Und via at the round
fla.
table.
We got to get a different font for you, man. It's an L.
Fla. L's and I's I can't see.
That's the nasty pudding that they slap onto your plate. Well, it's not actually nasty. It's quite good. So after your dinner, on your dinner plate, which you have cleared, you get your dessert, and they plop the vanilla flaw and then a plop of chocolate flaw on top of it. And it's
like a flan.
It's like a custard. No, it's like a thick yogurty, but it's flavored vanilla custard, just like what's inside of the creme brulee. Only it's cold.
So like a flan.
I don't know a flan. I don't eat flan. Flan is from...
Well, sounds like flan to me.
Okay, could be flan, but it's just it comes in a milk bottle, and you goop it out, and
it comes in a milk bottle. Well, flan doesn't come in a milk bottle. Yeah. Okay, well, it's onward. My childhood favorites that were those items when I visited my Oma in IJmuiden. What?
My childhood... I should have done this one. My childhood favorites when I visited my Oma, my grandma, in IJmuiden.
One last request. Health karma for my husband as he continues to decline from Alzheimer's, I guess.
ALS.
Oh, no, ALS, Lou Gehrig's disease. Love and light. And then she's got her name that we're supposed to keep anonymous.
Shh, we'll keep it that way.
Wow.
You've got karma.
Robert Jacob in San Antonio, Texas, $200. No note from him either, and that rounds off our 1322 executive and associate executive producers. I want to thank each and every one of them to make the show possible.
And thank you to you. And as thanks, I should say, we give you these titles. They are bestowed upon you according to the No Agenda Gitmo Nation Constitution. You are an executive producer or an associate executive producer for episode 1322. Display it proudly. You can use it anywhere. You can get gigs. And these days, it's getting harder. So give that a shot. We look forward to thanking the other people in our second donation segment. And this is part of our Value for Value network. You just give us whatever you think you got out of the show. It's that simple. If you want more, there's an explanation at our fabulous donation page.
Dvorak.org/NA.
And thank you again for contributing your time, your talent, and your treasure.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Order.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave.
And I apologize after that. All of that, we forgot to give anonymous or jingles.
Donate to a No Agenda. They give us shows week after week. Donate to a No Agenda. It's a show that's really unique. Donate to a No Agenda. Listen to John and Adam speak. Donate to a No Agenda. Science is turning into a clique.
India, Tango, Mike, stand by, 33, 33, 33, Rubblizer out.
You've got karma.
There we go. Taken care of. All done. All done. Ooh.
I do have a few Biden clips.
Yeah, is this from the town hall thingy?
Yeah, he looks like he was half dead there. I'm losing confidence in my thesis that he'll liven up.
And that you said, he's going to do a lot. You watch Biden. I heard you say it.
I did. I said it because I'm reminded of the story about Jack Benny and George Burns.
Okay.
Yeah. George Burns was like Biden. Kind of, he's in his, I think, late 70s, early 80s, just dead on his feet. And his best friend was Jack Benny. And George was like, walking. He wasn't doing work. He didn't have any shows. He wasn't doing anything. He was old. He's gone. Jack Benny gets the lead role in the movie God.
Oh, right.
And then he dies. And so oh, God, what are we going to do? We got to find somebody that's going to be able to play this character. And so they went up to George Burns and said, would you like to take his place? And he could be honored to do so because George Benny was his best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of a sudden he reverts 10 years back, livens up, memorizes the whole script, becomes young again, and then lives to 100 doing his act with showgirls and everything after that.
And this This is the basis of your theory that Biden will get a lot done?
Yes. This is the, yes. In fact, I know it sounds stupid,
and I'm
but
the crackpot.
It is the basis.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay.
It's a little crackpotty.
By the way,
so I figured Biden would liven up and get to work, and he'd become all kinds of things other than what he's become, which is, I don't know. So let's listen to a few of his
emergency message. We have 6 Chinese producers.
Thank you, Chinese producers.
Yes.
We love all 6 of you.
We do.
Did that come in from the CCP?
Yeah, yes. Eric with the CCP.
Okay, but let's listen to Biden gaffe new WTF.
The biggest thing, though, as you remember, when you and I shouldn't say it that way, as you remember, but when you and I talked last, we talked about it's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office.
Wait a minute. Now, I have not seen this. What is your takeaway from what he just did here? Why he corrected himself and said, I shouldn't say that? Just my first impression. You've heard it a couple times. Anything, or you just...
I have no... What he said was, as you remember, and this is, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that, maybe he's been called out for making assumptions or mind reading or using it's an old rhetorical trick to say that. So like, I'll do it, you do it, we both do it. Everybody who's in broadcasting does it, which is instead of, it's just to get the conversation moving. You'll say something like, well, you remember when we did blah, 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 and you get the thing rolling along.
How about this?
Instead of saying, do you remember when, and then stopping the flow. And so it's a trick. So, but why would he correct it? I have no idea.
Is it possible that this has become a no-go phrase within the administration because people would say to him, Mr. President, as you remember, and of course he doesn't. So they made a rule, you can't say that. Oh, I shouldn't be saying, no one should say that. So he's kind of implementing his own rule, I have a feeling. That was the first thing that hit me.
Wow.
Is it far-fetched? Let's listen again.
It's pretty far-fetched.
No, listen again. That was my first impression.
The biggest thing, though, as you remember, when you and I shouldn't say it that way, as you remember, but when you and I talked last, we talked about it's one thing to have the vaccine, which we didn't have when we came into office.
I don't know, man. I know.
Now,
just my thinking.
Well, the point of that clip wasn't that. The point of the clip was he had both shots before he came into office, but now he doesn't remember that.
Oh, this was the big scandal at Fox News, like emergency broadcast. I'm Hannity. Breaking news. Can you believe it?
Breaking news. The guy's an idiot.
He doesn't even remember. Yeah, breaking news. Our president doesn't remember. Breaking news. Okay.
So here's another one. This is I consider this one I don't know. I call it ramble of rambles. For the town hall, this is probably the best ramble I could find.
It's estimated that by most economists, including Wall Street firms, as well as think tanks of political think tanks, left, right, and center, it is estimated that if we pass this bill alone, will create 7 million jobs this year. 7 million jobs this year. And so the thing we haven't talked about, and I'm not going to go on because I want to hear your question, I apologize. We haven't talked about, I remember you and I talking during the campaign, and you had the former guy saying that, well, we're just going to open things up, and that's all we need to do. And we said, no, you got to deal with the disease before you deal with getting the economy going. Well, the fact is that the economy now has to be dealt with. And what is it? Look at all the people. You have over 10 million people unemployed. We need unemployment insurance.
Wow, where to start with this one? The first impression on this is kind of fun since I didn't watch it. There's not much difference between the way President Trump would sometimes try to explain things and the way Joe Biden did, at least that first half. Like spurts of words. By the way,
he calls Trump the other guy.
I know, I heard that. You know what I mean? It's like spurts of words that he's trying to connect together. And like little punchy stuff.
Yeah.
Let me hear it again.
It's estimated that by most economists, including Wall Street firms, as well as think tanks of political think tanks, left, right, and center, it is estimated that if we pass this bill alone.
No, I'm sorry. There's no comparison. President Biden is toast. There's really no comparison.
It's pathetic. Now, here's the other one. This is the other ramble. That was only a minute, even though it seemed like an hour. This one's only 15 seconds, and this is his comedy something GTO bill ramble.
Are you committed to passing $1.9 trillion bill, or is that final number still up for negotiation?
I'm committed to pass. Look, here's some of you are probably economists or college professors, or you teach it in school.
What? What was the answer to the question?
He never gives the answer. He goes off the deep end.
Interesting. Yeah, I don't know what to say.
He can't answer a question like that. Okay, here's another clip. This is him pushing to September, when we're going to get back to normal, or it is just a comment. I just clipped it. It's not as good as the first one, but it's okay.
But it is highly unlikely that by the beginning of next year's traditional school year in September, we are not significantly better off than we are today. But it matters. It matters whether you continue to wear that mask.
Yeah. It matters. It matters. What matters?
I have two more. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one that got the other Fox attention, and unfortunately, it's under Naiden, not Biden. I'm seeing that on the clip list.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the big opening school controversy, which was based on something Jen Psaki said at the press conference, and so they jumped all over him because he said something different. Now we can play him in either order. We can play Jen Psaki first, which is what she said, which triggered the question that he got, or we can play him first and then play Psaki. And I put the names on there because I wonder, and I'm going to let you choose.
I'd like him in A-B order, please. So I'd like Naiden opening school A.
The goal to open the majority of schools in your first 100 days. You're now saying that means those schools may only be open for at least one day a week.
No, that's not true. That's what was reported. That's not true. There was a mistake in the communication. But what I'm talking about I said opening the majority of schools in K through 8th grade because they're the easiest to open.
Yeah, this is the whole confusion thing that everyone is tripping over, and it came from something Psaki said, and that's the clip B, correct?
Yep.
His goal that he set is to have the majority of schools, so more than 50%, open by day 100 of his presidency, and that means some teaching in classrooms, so at least one day a week. Hopefully, it's more.
There was something that Jen Psaki said, and I thought I had the video. I'm so sure. I don't know why it didn't clip it. It was her answering something about this particular issue. No, I don't think I have it here. And she wound up by saying, and I wish I had. The punchline is, no, I'm certain the president thinks that way, as do I, and I'm his direct supervisor. It's hilarious, but now I don't know what happened to it.
Oh, we've got to dig that clip up. That's a good one.
Yeah, it's a real. I'm so
supervisor.
sad. I can't. There was a lot of stuff going on here. Just sticking on that for a second. This was the whole this school thing, and again, to me, it just looks like they're stalling to get the teachers' union whatever they want and whatever they're waiting for in passing this $1.9 trillion bill. And now it's come down to if they have priority. I guess they want to be vaccinated first before everybody else. They want to jump the line, so to speak. And I had two, let me see what I have. Yes, I have here from CNN. Dr. Rochelle Walensky and Jake Tapper, who was very confused by the data and the numbers.
So the CDC guidelines suggest schools could opt not to reopen in-person classes if they're in a red zone with the high community spread that you just referred to. According to our analysis of federal data, that includes 99% of American children. But you have said, quote, there's very little transmission happening in the schools. CDC researchers just wrote in JAMA that, quote, there's been little evidence that schools have contributed meaningfully to increased community transmission. So why give schools that opt not to open up?
In that red zone that you're referring to, and in fact, yes, many of our current counties are in that red zone, although our numbers continue to decline. But in that red zone, we advocate for hybrid elementary school because we believe those K-5 kids are, A, transmitting less, and B, really essential to have back in the classroom. And if you're in middle school or high school, we would advocate for virtual learning for that group, or if you're able to do strict 6 feet of distancing in those classrooms, to open remotely in a hybrid way.
And I'm not quite sure, but CNN is pushing back so hard on this, and we have to figure out why. Because for some reason, I
don't know what you mean. They're pushing back on what?
Okay. So the CDC, I explained this at the beginning of the show, the CDC has come out with guidance that said you can go back to school. Teachers don't need vaccinations. And now that was what Biden said. Oh, there was a miscommunication. We believe, and miscommunication came from Psaki, but the CDC guidance is clear. They don't need to have vaccines. And the whole administration is tripped up by this, and they're saying, yes, no, they need preference. They need to be they should have preference, just like frontline workers. The vice president is out saying this. President Biden is trying to do it in the town hall. They've messed it up. I'm surprised you haven't noticed this. It's all over the place. Now and then she just...
Well, I've noticed it, but that's not the only thing. Everything's all over the place.
Well, she just said, but here's my point. CNN is attacking these people, and these are administration-level officials. They're going against President Biden. I don't know quite why. And even as she said, we have to have 6 feet of distancing, he has a got you for her as well.
The CDC and you in this interview keep recommending 6 feet of distance between students. This is, of course, one of the barriers keeping some school closed because classrooms aren't big enough. Teachers are already overwhelmed by the number of students in their classroom. Over the summer, you suggested in a private email to the mayor of Newton, Massachusetts, that 3 feet of distance was, quote, quite safe if people are masked. So is 6 feet absolutely necessary, or can students be safe at closer distances?
Over the summer, we were at much less disease, and our guidance is a bit more flexible in terms of the distancing if you are at low rates of transmission, those rates that we were seeing over the summer. The other thing I want to just...
She's not answering the question, don't worry. But they're just going after them all the time. Here's another one. This is Simone Sanders. Now, she ran the campaign for Bernie Sanders. Then she switched over to the Biden campaign. Then she kind of went a little bit in the background, and now she is the primary spokeshole for Vice President Kamala Harris. And this is what she said, also, again, being called to task by CNN.
It's not a trick question, and I feel like you guys have treated it like a trick question. I think people just want to know what the White House position is on whether or not teachers have to be vaccinated for kids to return safely to school. The CDC director, Rochelle Walensky, says the science is that teachers don't necessarily have to be vaccinated for kids to return. And I think people want to know what the White House position is on that.
The White House position is that, and the president and vice president believe that teachers should be prioritized for receiving the vaccination along with other frontline workers. And in at least 22 states in the District of Columbia, that's exactly what's happening.
Prioritize is one thing, and I think there's wide agreement they should be prioritized. And why not? Is it necessary, though? That's the question. It really is a yes-no question.
Well, Well, John, I think the real question, frankly, if I can be frank here, is what you're getting to is it safe for kids to go back to school? And the president and vice
actually
president...
not. In this case, that's not the question. The question is it safe for teachers to go back to school? And that's a very specific question in this case. And again, I'm not sure. I don't understand why it's a hard question to answer. It may be that you want every teacher to be vaccinated. It may be the answer is, yeah, teachers should, if they can, be vaccinated before they return to school, but it's not necessary.
I don't know. It feels like there's something up, and they want to prove that either they are against, that they're just as fair as they are to any other president. Maybe that's it. Maybe there's some other force that is pushing. Something's up with this. This is a constant attack, and it's only from CNN.
I have no idea.
No, me neither.
I mean, I've seen some of this debate going on back and forth with the teachers and the teachers union. We have a real situation in San Francisco where the city's actually sued the school district to get them to open up.
Mm-hmm.
They can't get any movement. And the teachers unions are holding fast that they need to get a shot, and they don't even want to do it. They'd rather just collect money and not do anything from the sounds of it. It's these teachers unions. It's like a horrible group of people. They haven't done any good. They're not teaching the kids. It's just unbelievable. I mean, they're just turning them into Democrats, which is what they want to do because of unions. And I don't know. Yeah, I'll keep following it. We'll figure it. It'll figure itself out.
Speaking of court cases, in the Netherlands, one of these anti-lockdown groups and sued the government in the High Court for the curfew, that it was unconstitutional. The court agreed with them. It was high drama. This was broadcast live, and the judge is all flustered and like, well, we'll probably have to come back on Friday. We can't do a full hearing because the lockdown's going into place at 9:30, and we have to, although we're exempt. It was just a mess. So they won. The state is now countersuing, or it's a little different process in the Netherlands, but they're going to the next step higher. Even though the court said there's no constitutional reason, it's against people's freedom of movement. You have no legal way to do it. And now the government is going to come back, and they're going to, and meanwhile, the curfew stays in place. They feel that that these are emergency procedures and they will be reinstated, and they're just going to do it. They're going to overrule the court, and they're just going to do it. I'm sure there'll be 5 other court cases. Meanwhile, people still locked down in a curfew.
What does the government think they're trying to prove here?
That they're good little Chinese dictators?
Say goes.
Yeah, well, they're good little Chinese dictators. None of this, well, the curfew goes back to the Second World War, the last time they used it, which is
why
why
it made a little more sense then.
So polarizing. I don't know. It's baffling to me. What is the point other than, and there's no people dying, John. The numbers are completely there's not even discussed anymore. It's just shut up. We're just locking you up. I don't understand it. Other than some, great reset bull crap. Actually, Dr. Drew had a bit on lockdowns, not necessarily the same as the curfew. And he talked about the history of lockdowns, which makes total sense.
Do you guys know the history of lockdowns in the United States? There's actually a history. Do you know this?
No, go ahead.
It was invented by a 14-year-old high school student in, I believe it was 2000. No, this is factually true. The New York Times ran this history. A high school student in Albuquerque, New Mexico, who built a computer model to reduce the spread of influenza. She determined that you could close locally schools down, and because influenza is transmitted by children, very different than this virus. You could close down local schools and reduce the spread. Her father, who was a computer programmer at Los Alamos, said, that's a great idea. I bet I could build a computer model for regional lockdowns in a pandemic. The Bush administration adopted it as policy. No one had ever find it in an epidemiology textbook, an infectious disease textbook. It wasn't until the Chinese Communist Party did it that it was something that anyone thought they would ever do. And it's not something that's ever been tested. It's not something that is in the lexicon. The CDC never recommended it. It's really just something that has come out of nowhere without any science behind it.
Dr. Drew, good hearing you on the podcast. Sorry you're going away.
Where's he going?
The gulag. They're not going to let him talk like that.
Oh, is he on? Was that YouTube?
On a podcast. No, but he's a mainstream guy to a degree. He's got, commercials for...
No, he's a very mainstream guy.
Yeah. He's got to be careful. Larry Kudlow, who was a CNBC guy, then he became the president's financial markets advisor. Well, he's back now. He probably belongs doing financial stuff on television. But CNBC won't have him anymore. That would be a violation. So he's now at Fox. I think Fox Business to be even more insulting. And they introduced him, and he had a nice little welcome from the crew. Hey, it's great to have you here, Larry. And Larry, he's forgotten kind of how television works, and when your co-host is speaking and she's doing the tease or the outro, you might want to be quiet because, your mic might be on.
I love it. By the way,
looking forward to it, Larry.
I can't wait to see how you cover the GameStop story, too. But that growing retail participation in the stock market, I think is huge.
I'm good with it, but they better understand what goes up can go down.
It's a great point. All right, we'll be watching tonight.
Good to have you as a colleague, Larry. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And coming up on America Reports, we'll take a look at why there could be a potential conflict of interest for one of the World Health Organization's investigative team members. Why this is raising some serious questions over the probe into the origins of this global pandemic. Plus this.
In many ways, we're starting from scratch on something that's been raging for almost an entire year.
That was Vice President Kamala Harris making some false claims about the administration's
Unbelievable falsity.
And that is Larry Kudlow weighing in.
Apparently they took the
brother. There's nothing like yelling bullshit on a hot mic, is there? What an idiot. Very unprofessional, Mr. Kudlow. Back to the minor leagues you go.
It's not like you know what? It seems to me, I could be wrong, but he was probably drunk.
Well, we don't know about his drinking habits, but we do know that he was quite well known for his love of the snow back in the day.
Yes, and that does make you talk a lot.
Oh, my. What's this? What other stuff you got for me, ma'am? Because, I spent most of my load on what's going on down here.
Well, I got some international news. I got some...
Yeah, let's talk about that. Tell me what's going on in the world, John.
Let's look at the divisive decision on Facebook. The Facebook in Australia is a big news story. Here's I got two-parter.
Oh, good.
Two-parter, divisive decision.
We were waiting for this to come down to it, and Google is in the same boat, but I don't know what's happened with them yet.
Well, this is good for us to analyze, by the way.
I'm sorry?
This is good for us to analyze because there's all kinds of things they could do, and they haven't done them yet.
Australia's treasurer has lashed out at Facebook, saying the social media giant was wrong to block Australian Facebook users from viewing news content on their feeds. The move comes in response to new proposed legislation that would require Facebook and also Google to pay media outlets for hosting their content, a law which is expected to be approved by Parliament in the coming days. Let's take a listen now to the Australian Minister for Communications.
We've had discussions with all of the parties, all of the stakeholders, digital platforms, news media businesses. That will continue, but what will also continue is we'll continue with the process of legislating the code. The principle is very clear. Google and Facebook are important parts of the digital ecosystem in Australia. They're important parts of the economy. We've made it clear that we want them to continue operating here, but we've also made it clear that if you do business in Australia, you need to comply with the law of land in Australia.
France 24's Rochelle Harrison-Pless in Sydney has more now on that divisive decision from Facebook.
I find this very interesting. I like this a lot.
Well, a couple of things that come to mind is that the naivete with the publishers there saying, no, you can't run any of our stuff. I mean, Facebook could do a lot more than they're doing. Facebook, for example, could say, okay, we'll cut all your URLs are off. And if people want to pass around news stories, it's all going to be from American sources.
That's what they've already done, I believe. I think that was part of their
I don't know that
plan.
they're passing any news around. From this report, it seems like they're just cut off all news.
Now, the heart of the issue, as I understand it, goes back to Google News, that the Australian news, whoever falls under that, is being protected. The Australian government wants to protect them from being ripped off. Not necessarily that Facebook is just a big rip-off artist, but we know from history, if you let the social media companies use your news stories in a certain way, the advertising money pretty much goes to Facebook or Google and not to you. Is that the crux of what's going on here?
That's the element that they're dealing with, but unfortunately, this has been tried in Europe and other places, Belgium, I think.
Yep.
And they cut them off completely, and the guys almost went broke because they didn't get any links, because most of the links are now being the funnel. It's a choke point. And Google's a choke point. You want to get somebody to go to your site? Well, you can have your own. People go to your site just naturally, but if they don't want to do that and they go through Google and they get a link to your site, your numbers go way up because people do go there, and then you do get your advertising benefits. But they think it's something of a ripoff involved. And it seems to me that Google, well, here, play clip 2 and then we'll talk some more.
The threats to unfriend Australia were there, and now Facebook has followed through. The social network has blocked Australian users and publishers from seeing or posting news. That's in response to the federal government's proposed media bargaining code, which would force internet giants to pay Australian news outlets for their content. Facebook said it came to that decision with a heavy heart, but it's a decision that's in stark contrast to the approach of Google, another tech titan that would be affected by this contentious bargaining code. While Google threatened to shut down its search engine in Australia, since last week it's cut several multi-million-dollar deals with some of the country's biggest media companies such as News Corp, 7 West Media and 9 Entertainment. Meanwhile, Facebook's sudden news ban has not only affected news organisations, it's also taken down Facebook pages for the Weather Bureau, fire and emergency services, and crucially, government health services in the middle of a pandemic. Well, that's caused an outcry across the board, with so many people relying on Facebook to get their news. This removes important and credible news and information at a time when health misinformation is rife on the platform. Meanwhile, the Australian Treasurer Josh Frydenberg said he had a constructive discussion with Facebook chief Mark Zuckerberg this Thursday, and that they've agreed to try to find a pathway forward. So the battle is not over just yet.
Wow. This is now fascinating.
It's fascinating, but the reporting is not that good. The deal that Google did with the 3 publishers, which way did the money go?
I don't know.
There's no evidence. They make it sound like, to use our stuff, you got to pay us. But the real money should go in the other direction. I mean, this is the old problem that happened with cable TV, where people there was community television, CTVs there were, and you get a big entity. Somebody would bring all these. It was designed to get local television out to the fringes. And then all of a sudden they had all these people come in with these systems, so we'll pay you to use them, and then next thing you know, after they get very popular, you have to pay us to carry them because people want us more than they want you. And so the money could go either way on these, because it seems as that most of the money goes to Google to get the links and stuff out in forms of advertising, and just any other way they make money every which way. So I would, if it was me, I would say, well, let's do this. To bypass this law, I would talk to 3 publishers. We're going to be exclusive. We're going to exclusively just link to you by the millions of links. And for that, you're going to pay us.
Yeah, I believe that.
That would be the deal.
That would be a deal. Yeah. Well, okay. So my initial thought is this is very much like the not knowing how to light your gas stove without electricity. there's more to the internet than Facebook. And if Australians are really that worried, well, there is a thing called a browser. It might be called Safari on your iPhone. It might be called browser on your Android, but you can use this to go to websites like your news website. You could probably make a little home. Remember, you had a little home page and your startup page. You could put it on your own. I mean, there's so many ways to get the information. Could it also be that this is more about the algorithms and what controlling mechanisms will be presented? I don't think it's about news or making money at all. To me,
well, first of all, you just contradicted yourself in terms of the meta.
Okay.
If people are that stupid, these publishers aren't that bright.
I'm not talking about the publishers. I'm talking about the government wants certain stories to be highlighted to control the people. Let's be honest.
I don't know that they know that they can do that.
Maybe Facebook has sold them. How about this?
Doesn't know how to light this.
How about this? Maybe the dispute is about the control of the algorithm. Now, the Australian government may be getting a sales pitch saying, hey, you want your people to feel good about a garbage bag on their head?
Oh, no, that's possible.
Leave it to us. We'll build it up, baby. We'll make sure it feels good for everybody. Garbage bags. It's the future.
Could be. I mean, there's that element's in play with the sales pitches that you get from these companies. They sell anything. They'll sell out their own people if they have to. Because it's money. There's money to be made. Now, this whole thing is going to, I don't know how it's going to end up, but it's just a huge screw up, it seems to me. But back to your original thing about the browser. If you remember the era of AOL.
I do.
Oh, that was it. That was the bee's knees, keyword. No agenda, keyword.
Yep. I've told the story many times. For those who are new, I will do it one more time. I had MTV.com. I'd registered it. It didn't cost anything. There was no website. You sent the guy an email. I got Curry.com at the same time, Elvis.com, just a couple of fun ones. And I went to MTV and I said, hey, I'm doing this thing on the internet and I have a server. It wasn't even a web server. It was a Gopher server. And it's going to be MTV.com. Is that okay? And then that was the answer. Absolutely. Don't worry. We've got the AOL keyword. Not worried about your internet thing. And that's how, yeah.
Yeah, that's it. The keyword. And everybody was all locked into that. And now Facebook I've always said Facebook was it was AOL on steroids.
Well, it went a little further. If you remember, the World Wide Web was coming up and America Online got a lot of pressure. People were saying, hey, we want to be able to access the internet. And then they finally said, okay, we're going to give you a browser. So kind of like a gateway to go look at the internet. But disclaimer, I think you had to do an overall disclaimer. And then each time you went to the public internet through their gateway, which they had created, a little browser, you had to click OK again, that you knew that whatever was going on, it was probably scary out there. And what did it take? 9 months after that, AOL was gone.
No, it was longer than that.
Okay, but
it was a lot longer than it should have taken.
Right, but that was what killed them. They let people, and the internet, people wanted it. They couldn't resist.
Well, that's not the way I remember it.
Okay, how do you remember?
AOL was extremely popular. So much so that articles were coming out. The internet was underway. I mean, the internet was always underway, but the internet, the browsing internet, the www internet, that internet was underway. Websites were underway. A couple of years went by before they caught up, because in the meantime, Apple took a look at the situation. They said, well, they said, here's the internet, here's the browser, and here's AOL. We're going to do our own system called eWorld. I forgot the name of it.
Oh, my goodness, I forgot about that.
And in all their wisdom, they hopped on board with eWorld, knowing, because of all the reports of all the genius researchers saying, the internet's a fad, it's too complicated, no one wants to do it because you got AOL. Everything you can do on the internet, you can do better on AOL. And CompuServe was along in the same boat. So you had CompuServe, you had AOL, you had eWorld, and you had Microsoft taking forever to get on board.
Don't forget Prodigy.
And so there we're now. We got CDs, we got interactive CDs. If you really want to get into something in great detail, you got the CD, a CD-ROM. You got information at your fingertips. That took about a year to get over that idea, and it took forever for people to get a clue.
We had Prodigy, which wasn't that owned by Sears?
Oh, Prodigy, which was originally Trinitron, or what the name of it was.
Yes, it was owned by Sears.
Yeah, Prodigy, which was a combination of IBM and two other major companies. They put Prodigy out, and that was going to kick AOL's butt. They didn't care about the internet.
And back in the day, we had Apple Link. I remember you had to have an Apple Link ID. Sure you had that, an Apple Link. It wasn't. Oh yeah, oh my God, I'm remembering all this. Q-Link. Q-Link. What was that?
And there were BBSs that were
well, we had
way out of control.
CompuServe, of course, we had that.
CompuServe was a big player, and that's where the CB, which you mentioned in the last show, came from.
Yep.
Which was the first kind of open chat rooms. AOL had kinds of chat rooms, but they weren't quite as wild as CB. And then before that, of course, was the Source.
Oh, the Source. Oh my gosh, Genie.
Ah, yes, Genie. General Electric. GE. Genie.
Wait, the Source. Who owned the Source?
It was an independent operation. It was bought eventually by, I believe, CompuServe. So it was out of control. There was all these systems, and they were all dial-up, and they had all these things. It really wasn't until the networking thing really cranked up before the internet started to take off.
I would say the best piece of software that kind of survived in an odd way, might even be seeing a revival. Now, I don't know if it was ICQ first, or then it was AOL Instant Messenger.
ICQ was first, I'm pretty sure.
ICQ was badass, and then they sold out in a couple of years, like 5 years ago, I think they sold out to someone else. And Apple Instant Messenger, isn't that receiving a revival now? Isn't that somehow that came back?
I don't know this.
Yeah. AIM, baby. All the kids were on it.
So the internet was just one of many options. That's the way it was seen. It was seen as, here's the internet, that's one option. Then you have this option and that option, this and all these other options, which are all going to kick internet's butt.
And none of them did.
Now we're doing podcasting on the internet.
And that, my friends, is the history of the internet.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
We have a few people to thank for show 1322. Starting with Tomas Bjard in Tilburg.
Tilburg.
Oh, Tilburg, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He does have a yearly carnival contribution. I don't know what that means, but you do because he's from Holland.
I don't know. It's for the carnival. He's got a birthday shout out though. That's on the list.
Aaron Farrell, and he's in at $111.11, as is Aaron Farrell in Wadsworth, Illinois. Dorothy Schrode in Corvallis, Oregon. And there's 3 simultaneous donations of 33.33. $99.99. Brian Kindle, $99.99. Not a douchebag anymore. Well, you should give him a de-douching, please.
You've been de-douched.
Sir Herb Lamb in Sugar Hill, Georgia, 8008, sends a call out to Rush Limbaugh. Sir Lafayette in Metairie, Louisiana, 7373. And we talked about Rush Limbaugh's influence early on.
Mm-hmm.
Georgiana Gorgana in the UK, 71. Yankova. And a happy birthday call it coming. David Walker, and she's 71, so is David Walker, 71, with also a birthday calling out. And somebody needs a de-douching.
Yes, David Walker.
You've been de-douched.
Let me see.
also in the UK. It's very coincidental that two people from the UK, one after the other, come in with $71, and coincidentally both have birthdays.
Is that maybe 50 pounds these days?
Oh. No. Yeah, maybe. It sounds about right. I think the pound's about $1.35 as we speak.
That would be
David Walker was our guy. Then William Cameron in Charlotte, North Carolina, 6969. Sir Craig, the Viscount of Northeast Georgia in Atlanta, 6969. Wishes you luck. Glenn Kukas in Rhode Island, 5863. Sir Roger on Ice in Tampa, Florida, 5555. Christy Bentley in Forestville, California, 5555. Jacinto Barrios in San Diego, California, 5555. Dean Roker in East Grinstead, West Sussex, 5510. Richard Futter, 5510, and he's in London.
Now,
by the way,
we need to read this because he will be knighted today. So here we go. First, I must say the No Agenda show has been invaluable to me over the last 7 years of listening, as it really has kept me calm. Invaluable. I thought I said invaluable. I meant invaluable, as it has really kept me calm, although rather frustrated, as the world around me devolves into woke and media-manipulated nonsense. As a Londoner working for one of the Big Four professional services firms, I've been subjected to an excessive amount of mandatory training, which is either specifically about D&I/racism, diversity and inclusion, or completely unrelated trainings having to be adjusted to force in the topic. This gumph has... Good word, gumph, has only accelerated in the last couple of years, even seeing one of our European partners tout a Build Back Better challenge. It's been rather sickening. Anyway, I was hit in the mouth by my dear friend Sir Matthew of Greenwich, big shout out and thank you, and have been a devoted listener/producer ever since, actually being a rare no-romo listener. John, I also listen to DH Unplugged, but that doesn't quite fit the moniker. Maybe do-de-ro-moi. It's getting there. I'm long overdue in claiming my knighthood, as I'm closer to baronet status for my monthly donations, but upon finding the below article, I wanted to simply contribute something other than some treasure, and therefore two birds with one stone. I'd like to say no jingles, no karma. However, there's a jingle I've been longing to hear that hasn't been played for a while that seems like years. Can I ask for my Sharia law jingle, which is one of the best ever? Yes, we'll put it at the end of the show. I would like to be known as Sir Trickles of Greenwich and would love some fajitas and Fanta Orange at the round table. Love and light, soon to be Sir Trickles of Greenwich. You got it. I'm getting in the order right now as we speak.
I think you're going to have to call out for the Fanta. I think they stopped making it.
Fanta? I think
at least in the U.S.
I think in Europe they still make it.
Well, maybe.
Well, I don't know if we can get it. Otherwise, we'll just slip an orange crayon in some carbonated water.
Yeah, that works. Same thing.
They'll never know. Never know.
Onward with Chad Farrow, 5510 from Chambersburg, Pennsylvania. Daniel at 5510. Daniel Mariano, another 5510 in Pflugerville, Texas, along with Tracy Wallace, $52, also from Pflugerville, Texas.
My.
And she's a JRE convert for your information.
Thank you.
Kevin Carlisle in Birmingham, Alabama, 5110. Gummy Nerds, the Viscount of the Troll Room in Green Bay, Go Packers, 5050. Norris Conklin, 5045, parts unknown, but a birthday shout out coming. Joseph Hartley, 5033 in Hickory, North Carolina. And Sir Sean DeSantis, 5033 in Fort Pierce. We've got a lot of random number stuff going on today. 5033 in Fort Pierce, Florida. Then $50 donors, name and location as follows. Baronet Amen Fist Bump in Montgomery, Texas. Jamie Hilliard in Newman, Georgia. John Camp in Antlers, Oklahoma. Jessica Young in Yuba City, California. Marie La Bruyere in Kennett Square, Pennsylvania. I have the hiccups. David Shalona in Madisonville, Louisiana. Sir Chris Lewinsky in Sherwood Park, Alberta. Elliot Rivera in Lost Wages, Nevada. Danny Shadix in Boise, Idaho. Anthony John in Holland somewhere. So we don't have anybody else, and that would be our well-wishers, producers for show 1322.
Indeed. Thank you all so much for supporting the show, and not just supporting, but really producing. It's how our value for value model works. You can supply anything to be a producer, time, talent, and treasure, and you've done that, and we really appreciate it. And we've got a lot of birthdays, we got knightings, title changes to get to, so I'll thank you once again for your courage, and remind you that there is a place you can find out how to support the show. It's our handy donation webpage.
Dvorak.org/NA.
Last one for everybody.
You've got karma.
Well, as we power through the month of February, here's what we got. Sir Shyster says happy birthday to Sir Ryan, the refiner. Now, he celebrated on the 11th. David Walker and Gargana Tankova. Happy birthday to David's mom, Jen Sayer. She celebrated on the 16th. Anonymous in Madison, Wisconsin's birthday today. So is Tracy Wallace, who turns 52. Thomas Baird turns 39 tomorrow. Glenn Kukas, happy birthday to his dad, Roger D. Wayne, 58 on the 19th. And Norris Conklin says happy birthday to Sir Dorian Mode, who is celebrating his 12th anniversary of his 33rd birthday on February the 20th. And finally, Sir Shyster comes back again and says happy birthday to Jenna, who will be celebrating on March 3rd. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe.
Title changes, turn and face the slave. Title changes, don't want to be a douchebag.
No douchebags, but we do have some upgrades. Sir Ralph, Baron of the Neutral Moors Net, becomes the Earl of Neutral Moors Net and Germany, so you know. And Sir Dark Fake, with a K, is a baronet, and we congratulate him as well and say thank you for your courage, for your additional support of the No Agenda Show with another $1,000. It's fantastic. We've got our knights. We've got actually no dames. We have 2 knights and a sir. And we're sticking with it. So I get my blade here. What you got?
There you go.
Okay, I'll take it. Up on the podium, Anonymous, Corey Getty, and Richard Futter. All 3 of you have supported the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 or more. That's why I'm very proud to welcome you to the No Agenda Roundtable of the Knights and Dames and pronouncicate thee as Sir Benaden von Eymouden, Sir Fauci's Throat, and Sir Trickles of Greenwich. For you, we've got Hookers and Blow, Rent Boys and Chardonnay, Fajitas and Fanta Orange, found it. We also have veal croquettes and fla at the round table for you, and we've got bong hits and bourbon, geishas and sake. We got breast milk and pablum, ginger ale and gerbil, sparkling cider and escorts, and why, yes, we do have the mutton and the mead. Rings are going back out again. I saw a couple postings on noagendasocial.com. So you guys go over. You guys, you're all sirs. Go over to noagendanation.com/rings. We'll meet you there and take your measurements and make sure that you get your No Agenda knight or /dame ring. And along with that comes certificate and the official sealing wax. Now, I thought I had a meetup promo, but maybe they got lost somewhere in the snow. Let's see what we got here.
No Agenda meetups.
Here's what we're looking at for the meetups for the coming weeks. And remember, these meetups can be, in fact, life-saving, if not sanity-saving. Witness the NA 512 local, which sprang into action when people needed some help, and they helped each other out, and it's a great way to coordinate. On Saturday, you can join the meetup at the Backwater Wisco. That'll be in Walworth, Wisconsin, at Simers Cruise Inn. Okay, Ramsey Kane is doing that for us. Also on Saturday, Springfield, Missouri, Super Spreader event at 2 o'clock at Lindbergh's Tavern. Houston's Raging Super Spreader Luncheon noon on Saturday at the Rodeo Goat. Also on Saturday, we have Flight 012 of the No Agenda Agora Hills, 3:33 p.m. in California at Crony's Sports Grill. The No Agenda Local 512 will try again. We had postponed in Doc's backyard, so Saturday is when you can go out, and hopefully I can make it out. We'll see if we can. On Sunday, the Mediocre Reset Commission Adelaide. It's the Aussie Meetup 333 at Cooper's Ale House. Sir Mike is your host. And let's see, new on the calendar, we've got February 23rd, Nashville's mandatory producer meeting. 25th of February, the TMI EVAC Zone meetup in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. That will be right near the old reactor site. And looking down the list, February 27th, the Nashville Producers Meeting. That's new on the list. There's a lot. People are very excited about meeting each other. We have dates going into March. If you'd like to meet up with your friends, who will be your friends, people that you can just hang out with and don't have to worry about being triggered to any of that, go to noagendameetups.com. And as always, if you can't find one, start one yourself. It's like a party. noagendameetups.com.
Sometimes you want to go hang out with all the nights and days. You want to be where you won't be triggered or held to blame. Everybody feels the same. It's like a party.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to kind of getting back to normal here. So many things
Is it snowing
happening.
as we speak?
It was this, when I started. Let me check. Hold on. No.
What, you okay?
Yeah, it dropped something. No.
Stop snowing?
Yeah, it was snowing this morning, but it stopped snowing. Let me see the temperature.
Yeah, you're done. It's over.
The temperature is 31, so yeah. I think we're accessible because I see that Sir Gene made an emergency run and dropped off some wine for us here. So I guess I guess we can get out now. So whatever happened, we're good to go.
Well, make sure to put chains on your tires.
Sure, I will. End of show.
Do you have any ISOs?
Yes, I was just about to say I have two.
I'm going to Fauci you.
I got that one, and this is a throwback clip, probably too long, but I liked it.
It looks just like a Telefunken U-47.
It's Frank Zappa.
Can't even hear it.
That's Frank Zappa talking about the Telefunken U-47. Now, all I got is I'm going to Fauci you. That's all I got. What do you have?
How about life and death?
Ooh, try this one.
People have made some life and death choices.
That's all you got?
No, I got they matter.
Okay. They matter.
They matter.
That's...
I'm going to Fauci you.
I kind of like the Fauci you better.
It's so echoey.
They matter.
Yeah, your Joe does have a better presence.
I'm going to Fauci you.
Yeah. Oh, here's one. This is what I thought would do it.
The package is huge.
Come on.
Okay, that's the winner.
The package is huge. I don't even know where I get these. Yeah, there's lots of stuff I want to talk about on Sunday. We've had, I think, 5 near-miss asteroids in the past 2 weeks. It's not really being reported, but it's out there. Have you noticed any of this?
I saw that stupid video. Some guy sent this video around about this near-miss asteroids and missing Krakatoa. Krakatoa, you guys could comment on Krakatoa's gone. Krakatoa had an eruption in 2018. 3 years ago, and half the mountain disappeared and fell into the ocean. So this is a news. I don't believe any of that whole thing, that whole video, I think is crap.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
There's a video going around about the asteroids who just missed us by just a few miles. I mean, one just shot by now. It's just bull crap.
Okay, hold on a second. Because I don't know, I have no idea what you're talking about, some video. Let me just go to news.google.com and I just look for asteroid. And there's, I'm back. Apophis, the most intimidating asteroid, is coming for a visit, which scientists were prepared for. Then there was Comet or Asteroid. They've got this 4 different sightings of asteroids here. Massive asteroid, size of Chrysler building to pass Earth. Asteroid, double disaster struck Germany. NASA mission will zoom by asteroid before returning sample to Earth. I don't know. It just seems like there's a lot of
Well, let's go to another one that's come out. Another one that got a bunch of ink.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't an asteroid that killed the dinosaurs. It was a comet.
Oh,
you heard this one?
No, not at all. What's
the analysis might be true. It's possibly it was a comet. A little comet comes in and blasts us and knocks everything, kills everything. I think there's a movie or something coming out. Too many of these stories are coming out all at once. We haven't, these asteroid pass-bys are not new. They happen all the time. Planet X.
Yeah, I think you're right. Let's take a look. Let's see. Asteroid disaster movie. Let's see. Are we right? Anything coming out? I don't see anything yet. Greenland Review, comet disaster movie with a surprisingly deep impact. I'm looking for the trolls. The trolls should know if this is coming. Greenland. Greenland is a movie. Gerard Butler. Is that big enough to get this kind of promo?
Promo's not that much. I mean, I've seen better. It wasn't any of the nightly news shows about the asteroids.
No.
When it shows up on nightly news, then I'll know.
There's no Bruce Willis movie coming out. Yeah, it is.
Bruce Willis.
Can't Bruce Willis get Bruce Willis back on an asteroid, people? Let's do something about this, shall we?
He's doing Die Hard battery commercials now.
Wasn't he always doing those?
No, not that I remember. Yeah. Die Hard used to be a Sears brand that was picked up by somebody else that sold at one of the auto supply companies. Anyway, I'm convinced there's something else going on here with this asteroid. A sudden burst of asteroid stories.
Could be, yeah.
So other than that, I think. Well, if you want to go back, stay in space, we should at least do the story on our Mars rover.
Okay, you got.
And only good coverage was on France 24. There's too much freezing weather here to the networks to cover anything, so they have to do a half and a half. The show is on Texas, and the half the show is on COVID vaccines. But let's listen to new Mars rover from France 24.
7 months after its departure from Earth, NASA's latest Mars rover, Perseverance, is gearing up for an audacious landing attempt on the Red Planet. The final hours of the 470 million kilometre journey to our planet's closest neighbour are famously perilous. NASA engineers say the touchdown should take place at around 10 p.m. French time this Thursday, with hopes the rover can send a first surface image of Mars shortly after.
The goal, of course, is to collect promising samples in this super clean tube, and its analogs, of course, the ones up there going towards Mars, and really collecting those samples as a first step of the most difficult missions, or one of the most difficult missions ever undertaken. It's, of course, trying to make significant progress in answering one of the questions that has been with us for many centuries, namely, are we alone in the universe?
Yeah, okay. Well, disclosure.
I don't understand the point of this super clean tube. They're not sending these samples back. That would be an admission. That somebody's going to have to do that. Ooh. Grab a bunch of Martian stuff and then ship it back. And then now you got something worth a lot of money.
I thought that they already had some Martian dust, don't we? Isn't that available somewhere already?
How's that possible?
I don't know. I thought, didn't we sample something? Isn't something roaming around up there? We've never landed on that place.
No, we've landed on there, and there's things roaming around. But how do you get home?
To email? Okay, maybe not. I'll tell you what. We'll contemplate it. And then on Sunday, we'll come back and we'll see if it's a movie or something that matters. I'm leaning towards movie. I just haven't figured it out yet. Thank you all very much for producing episode 1322, the best podcast in the universe. Coming up, we have Well, on the No Agenda stream, we have Abs in a Six-Pack. That's our seat sitter with his David Icke interview, so you can listen to that. End of show mixes, we've got Doug Longenecker. We've got us some Professor JJ in China with a homemade ditty. And we'll throw in some Dark Winter from Tom Starkweather, the My Sharia Law, as promised. And that should take us to the end. Coming to you from Opportunity Zone 33, where the Section 8 housing is here in FEMA Region 6, capital of the Drone Star State. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, where we're all collectively surprised that your power stayed on the whole time. I'm John C. Dvorak.
We return on Sunday right here on No Agenda. Remember us at Dvorak.org/NA. And until then, adios, mofos, and such.
Wait. That's
not enough. Smirking. She's got that big grin.
You are bloodthirsty for ratings.
This is the whole thing is doctored evidence. It's like everything we get is nothing but doctored evidence. With COVID, phony hospitalizations, doctored evidence. Phony. Doctored evidence. And the very fine people hoax. Doctored evidence. Bull crap. And media's all in on the whole thing. And then if you go all the way back,
it was absolutely shocking.
What happened to that FBI lawyer? Doctored evidence.
Shame.
If you go all the way back,
enough for you?
Shame.
Doctored evidence. Back to East Anglia and climate change. The whole thing is doctored evidence. It's like everything we get is nothing but doctored evidence.
Either side with the RNA will steal your life vibration. Another slug with Bell palsy, limited mastication. Moderna scheme achieves the dream, perpetual vaccination. It's a gain-of-function therapy from a Wuhan collaboration. Fauci's task will double your mass through Biden's inauguration. It's understood eugenesis selling vaccination. Kill the old and doctors too, you know they're not worth saving. Passport chips under your skin, enslavement is a craving. Reset metaphor, default platform, experimental vaccination, experimental vaccination.
One was called Atlantic Storm and the other one was called Dark Winter.
Dark Winter? The darkest and worst days of this pandemic, unfortunately, are ahead of us. Not
on a dark winter morning.
See it. Look at it. Go through all the processes. And by the way, we're about to go into a dark winter.
The recent dark winter exercise, it's a very dark moment.
Allah Akbar. Allah Akbar. Under my Sharia law, you Westerners will crap your pants. Under my Sharia law, we're going to blow up Paris, France. Under my Sharia law, there's only one thing that we want more: to rape a load of Swedish blonde-haired whores under my Sharia law. Allah Akbar!
Yeah, we're gonna take a little bit of that vaccine.
Let's dive into this.
Mix it on up here in the vat.
Sniff it out.
Oh, baby, it's gonna be so sweet. Come on.
You're like, is this not obvious? Like, tell me.
Oh, vaccine, honey, is that true?
Yeah.
Fauci in the vet, campaigning like a southern farmer diplomat.
Right.
Oh, Vaseline.
Yep. Okay, are you comfortable? We dive into it.
Oh, baby, it's gonna be so sweet, dude. Come on.
Yep.
Come on. Oh, Vaseline, honey, is it true? Vaseline, honey, is it true? Last time we saw you down with Fauci in the vat, campaigning like a southern farmer diplomat. The best podcast in the universe.
Mopo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
The package is huge.